Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another live hangout vid. Before we get started, let me just check my levels here, make sure my phone's okay. It looks like it appears to be. Let me check it in another section here. Looks like we're good to go here. All right, so we're getting a couple of people watching. So wait for the crowd to get in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into it. Well, let's just get some people in. 3 people watching. As you can see, the title of the hangout, guys. Those who are going to be coming in shortly. Now, the PBC is in financial trouble. Now, this is not coming from me. This is coming from Rick Glaser, who's you could say he's borderline a freelance boxing journalist. Okay. Now, according to Rick Glaser here, I'll wait till everybody gets in. I'll go ahead and read what he's said. Yeah, what's up, legendary boxer? I know he did say that. He also said Gennady Golovkin was and David Lemieux was the. I'll get into that one in a second, but this is what he was able to uncover. Now, I'm not saying if he's telling the truth here, but let me just check what he said here. And this I just uncovered this from a Facebook post. Now, according to Rick Glaser, he said here, quote, I'm reading word for word here from verbatim. This is not my words. This is his. Okay. What up, Shizbiz? So Rick Glaser, according to him, this is what he said, quote, rumors abound around, he said the word abound. Okay. Rumors around, I don't think he meant abound. Let's just take it as it is. Rumors around that PBC has been shopping around for a potential sale. Now, supposedly down to one potential purchaser. The likely buyer is Ari Emanuel. Now, for those who don't know who Ari Emanuel is, he's a very powerful individual who owns or co-owns the world famous, how you say, one of the most famous entertainment or talent agencies in the world when it comes to acting and TV hosting, et cetera, et cetera. When it comes to the world of entertainment and film and television, he owns the William Morris talent agency in Zuffa, which is better known as the UFC. He co-owns it. Now, the sale is not cashed out by Al Heyman, and it's a forced sale upon Waldo Reed, which, of course, Al Heyman was able to receive his funding to start up the PBC brand back in 2015. Now, he also said here that the company that put up that's what I mentioned. The company that put up the $500 million startup fund for the PBC 4 years ago. Now, being told by several reliable sources that the PBC, ever since they stopped paying for time buys or airtime buys with the television networks pertaining to Fox, Showtime, etc., they haven't really turned a profit. Now, Walter Reed, I'm been told, is worn out by Al Heyman's failed projects of the forthcoming profitability, and Walter Reed is forcing the transaction. Now, to quote the attorney source, a lot of smoke and mirrors are within the PBC, but nothing fruitful financially. Now, if Ari Emanuel is the buyer, look for Dana White to be the front man. Okay. For the boxing venture too, as White is for the UFC. Now, mind you, Dana White did acquire a boxing promotional license a while back. So we'll see. Now, other boxing businesses, powerhouse like Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn, and Oscar De La Hoya are not interested or are prohibited from purchasing the PBC, as well as the PBC fights are on Fox platform, Showtime, and because of Arum and Hearn and Oscar respectively exclusive. There's a lot of confusing with his writing here, the way he's writing, but it is what it is. Oscar's respective exclusivity with those networks. Here I am trying to paraphrase here a little bit what he's saying. And Arum with Disney, ESPN, and Hearn is with America with the Zone, along with Oscar is with the Zone. Now, what he means by that is that even if the sale is completed by from Wilder Reed to Ari Emanuel, who's also co-owner of the UFC with Dana White. Now, what he means by that, due to the pre-existing agreements with the television networks with Fox, Showtime, and who's their other who also they're in contract with? Whoever. Right now it's just Fox and Showtime. they cannot. So as far as Aram and Hearn and De La Hoya, they cannot intervene in that situation, which I don't make. That makes no sense. Why would they? How could they intervene in that situation? The only thing they could do is try to sign the fighters, unless the fighters have some type of deal with those networks that are pre-existing, which I have every reason to believe. So, moving on, there are several issues that need to be cleared up here now between Heyman and Waddle Reed. Now, Waddle Reed without Heyman may possibly still retain some ownership with the Manuel's group. We'll see how this unfolds for the next several months. As the more information becomes available, you'll have it there. Okay, so what up, Joe host? Let's see here. Now, you can make of it right now, guys. You can find this on his Facebook post, Rick Glaser. All you do need to do is type in his name. You'll see his Facebook page, and he has the post sitting right there. You can go ahead and come to your own conclusions on it. The one thing I will say is that we'll wait and see what happens in a few several months. But what I can say is that the PBC has been running a bit of the red. I'm not sure about now, but I can say when they first started up a couple years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, in the first year, Al Heyman did burn through most of his cash, which the rumor mill went around is that the firm, the investment group, Waddle Reed, were not happy the fact that he was going through that. He burnt through so much cash in a short period of time. So, like I said, I'm not sure what to make of this. As Legendary Boxer pointed out, what's going to Legendary Boxer? He has pointed out that Rick Glaser was a guy who's also put out some very questionable stuff. So he's a guy who I think, and I agree with Legendary Boxer here. He was a guy that put out this rumor that as Steven Espinoza was going to more likely be resigned or resign from his position as the executive vice president of Showtime Sports because of the shakeup with the PBC. I think it was in the beginning of 2015, not 2016, that the PBC signed signed some type of fight by faces, multi-fight deals with the other networks, such as Spike and BET, who showed at least 2 fights, I believe. No, they showed 1 fight at one time, Andre Ward's comeback fight against Paul Smith, and then Bounce TV, which is Urban TV network, that showed a few fights here and there. But like I said, that's what the rumor was at the time. Of course, Steven Espinoza still has his job. He also put out this information 4 or 5 years ago that Gennady Golovkin and David Lemieux, which I did start off this hangout with. Gennady Golovkin and David Lemieux did what? As far as his pay-per-view fights, this is Golovkin's first ever headline pay-per-view with HBO at the time. They did 97,000 buys. And a lot of people picked up on it. And then there were some people who did question Glaser and asked him, where did you get that information from? Who is your source to that? Because there's another source that's pointed out that that pay-per-view did 150,000 buys or 150,000. And Glaser had to retract that. So there you have it. He pretty much had to retract that with that information, and there you have it. Let's see. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know if, again, I don't know if this is accurate information according to Rick Glaser, because he has told some questionable information in the past, but who knows? He may be right here. He may have some reliable sources to the info that I'm reading to you guys. Let's just wait until everything comes to fruition. But I may add, though, again, the PBC does have a pre-existing agreement, like 2 or 3 year agreement with Showtime and Fox respectively. So, and they're not buying no more airtime, which is, I guess, that's a good sign of things. But according to him, they still weren't able to turn a profit based off that. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how things goes in that situation. Let me look at the chat. What's up, Joe host? I already say what's up to you. Dwayne, what's happening, man? I just hope the Blazers win that series, but I doubt they will against Golden State, man. I really doubt it. Big Boys Boxing, formerly Kiwi Box. What's up, Kiwi? Good, man. Brown gone. What's happening, man? I'm good. The Legendary Boxer says, look, no one knows about the PBC's profit and losses. That's true. We don't really have concrete information on it, because here's where it gets a little sketchy here. Now, the PBC is a private entity, okay? They're not a publicly traded company, which means they're not required to share their financial results with anyone. They're not required to do that. their profit. In other words, they're not required to present a balance sheet, which also shows a profit and loss margin, whatnot. So it is a good point. We don't really know, but what I can tell you is that a few years ago, Heyman did burn through a lot of cash in a short time span that Waddle Reed had funded for him. So start up the brand. So yeah, it's a good point. We don't know yet. It's kind of like the Zone. The Zone runs on is a private company. They don't need to present a balance sheet as well. So we don't know what their true profits and margins are as well. So that's a good point there. Let me see the text and what's happening, man. Stack week in the sport. Yeah, it's a very good fight card this weekend. You know, Wilder, Brazil's obviously going to top up the bill. Gary Russell's fighting on that undercard against Kiko Martinez, which is, you know, that Kiko Martinez is a old, washed up version of Kiko Martinez, show himself a fighter. But what else is on that weekend? I know there's a couple of UK cards on that weekend. I think Billy Joe Saunders is fighting that weekend. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. Let me see. Bob Aaron says that Fury versus Joshua should be in America, not in the UK. Well, I know the UK fans are going to have something to say about that, Bob. So wait for those videos to come, the slew of videos. Pounding you by saying that. Let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah. I wanted to check and see the card this weekend. I wanted to go ahead. Yeah, the WBSS is coming up. Naoya Inoue against Emmanuel Rodriguez. Now that should be a very good fight. I mean, Rodriguez is a very skillful fighter. You know, Inoue is a relentless pressure fighter, and he punches extremely hard. So that dude's got a lot of power for a little man. He knows how to place his shots extremely well. Taylor versus Baranchyk, that's a very good fight for the WBSS. Yeah, this is a stacked weekend for boxing, man. I'm very excited. Very stacked weekend. Baranchyk versus Taylor should be a good fight, and some people feel that Taylor may not be ready for that fight, but I think he is, man. And Masuke Ito versus Jamel Herring, that should be a very decent fight at super featherweight. Well, actually, that's next week. My bad. I'm going way ahead of myself. Billy Joe Saunders is fighting this weekend too. Yeah, so he's fighting for the vacant 168-pound WBO super middleweight title, which was recently vacated by Gilberto Ramirez, who's now moved up to light heavyweight. So yeah, so it's a very interesting, very good card coming up. So Joyce versus Ustinov is on that card. Oh, okay. I don't know why Joyce is taking that fight. I mean, Alexander Ustinov is not really what I call a good step-up fight for Joyce right now. I mean, Bemesa Vern was a good enough step-up. I mean, that's a far better step-up than Alexander Ustinov. I mean, Ustinov has been knocked out quite a few times already. Recently knocked out by a little Michael Hunter. So I don't know. I don't know why Joe Joyce is taking that fight. I really don't know. I know it's a stay busy fight, yes, but to me, after the Stavern fight, you shouldn't really be looking backwards. You should be going a little further than that. If anything, they should have put in there. Joe Joyce could be fighting. He could have, put him in there against a. Let's see. I mean, you could put him in there against the. If you look at the heavyweight rankings, let's look. Who could they put him in there against? I mean, Lucas Brown was already tied up with Dave Allen, so that's out of the question at that point. If you look at the heavyweight rankings, you have, let me see, you could have put him in there against Christian Hammer. I know Christian Hammer had a fight recently, but he would have taken the fight. Let me see, Charles Martin maybe. Well, Charles Martin's, is fighting for a comeback, so I don't think any of his team will put him in there against Joe Joyce right now. So maybe Robert Hellenius, in my opinion. I don't know. Well, actually, no. It's kind of like it's like a toss-up between Hellenius and Ustinov, or maybe Spilka. Maybe Spilka would have been a better step-up fight, after the Suburban fight, in my opinion. So I don't know. Huey Fury, Kiwi, yeah, that would have been a nice one. But the Fury camp not trying to put Huey in there against anybody that has a quote-unquote a pulse. I know they had tried to put him in there they put him in there against Joseph Parker, and they put him in there against Kubrat Pulev. But I mean, Huey Free's got some talent, he's got some skills, but he just, to me, in my opinion, he just doesn't have what it takes to compete at to compete on a world level. Now, I mean, no disrespect to him. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. Let's see. Shizbiz, yeah, we talked about that. Unbeaten Alfonso versus Kalazic. Yeah, that's interesting on the Wilder undercard and Brazil undercard. Yeah, actually, let me check that undercard right now since we're on a Kiwi. I mean, let me take a look at that. Let me take a look. So if we're looking at that undercard right now, right? Let's look at the event. Gary Russell and Kiko Martinez. I already mentioned that already. That's for the WBC featherweight title. Let me see. You have, yeah, Robert Alfonso's undefeated against Igor Kalazic, who got knocked out by Joy Joyce in one of his previous fights. Yeah, so it's not really a very good undercard. I mean, the only three fights, of course, other than the main event, you got Gary Russell Jr. versus Kiko Martinez and Robert Alfonso versus Igor Kalazic. So those are interesting bouts. Now, let's see where I'm going to go here. So, yeah, so as far as the PBC thing, let's just wait and see what unfolds in the next several months. Stay busy, Vice TBA on the Dubois versus Gorman card. Hopefully, a real fight then. Yeah, Dubois versus Gorman has been announced, so that should be a very good, interesting domestic fight on the British level. You know, I'm not saying it's bigger than Joshua versus White, but it could potentially still the show. We'll see. It could potentially be better than that fight. We'll see. We all know that both guys can punch hard. Both guys got some decent skill, and both guys are aiming for a knockout. So we'll see how that plays out. The Texan, what's happening, brothers? He says that I hope the Joyce fight the winner of Dubois versus Gorman. That's all I'm looking for over there. Yeah, he should fight the winner. I mean, I really don't see Joe Joyce going anywhere other than if he decides to go, to bypass the that domestic level fight, then, what's he going to do? Go on European level next? I mean, he's already fighting on world level technically because he beat Romain Stavern recently. So, I mean, he's technically on a semi-world level stage right now. So, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out, man, with Joe Joyce. I know they are moving him pretty quickly. Vaught says that Rick Glaser is a hater who loves Don King. Well, Rick Glaser has had some questionable. He's had some question marks when it comes to his reporting or when it comes to his reliable sources. So, like I said, you can take it as a grain of salt right now, but we'll see how things develop in the next few months. We'll see. But I do know, since I put this out, a lot of people are going to jump on this and they're going to take Rick Glaser's words at it as if it holds any bears any fruit, I should say, or if it's any substance to it, I should say. So we'll see. Hamed, what's happening, man? Hamed says that. Let me see. Salute Dan Anthony Prince. What's happening, Dan? What's up, AP? Hamed says, Dan, you need to join us on the UGC real soon. Yeah, I could get on there, man. I know Horseman is hosting that. Shout out to Horseman on there. Owen Bice is on there too. World Blazing Sports. I know IOTBA is on there too. I know he's a big Spence fan, but I don't want, but we'll see. Yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, I don't mind coming on there. Callie got schooled by Eddie Hearn, was embarrassed. Yeah, I didn't see that. I know he talked to him once, but I didn't see Callie's new interview with him. But it is what it is. I have to check that out. Brown Gone says, I think Showtime will face the same fate as HBO did. You know what? I won't rule it out, Brown, because if you look at their ratings recently, Showtime's ratings has not been quite as great this year so far. I mean, I know what this is Wilder's first fight for that network this year, so we'll see what ratings he pulls against Brazil. I know Fox is killing them in the ratings right now because Fox seems to be averaging almost 1.7, 1.8 million views per fight. Even low-level fights, they're getting that many views. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Nobody thought that Caleb Plant versus Jose Uzcategui would get close to 2 million views for that fight. Nobody thought that would happen. So I don't know, man. It's like Fox is killing them in the ratings right now. And by the way, shout out to Fox with hosting that great fight between Julian J. Rock Williams versus what's his name, Jared Hurd. And J. Rock became the unified light middleweight champion. And I got to say one thing, man. What up, Once? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. What I can say is that J. Rock has really, really came out, and I'm glad he came out. He's one of those guys who killed this whole notion that being undefeated means more than it means to the world to all these fighters. Yes, it's a great feat of being undefeated, but in reality, it doesn't really mean shit it depends on what you put on your record, okay? Because many Hall of Famers and all-time greats have taken losses in their careers. Many of them. As one uploader says, the reason why so many people are so caught up or so obsessed of keeping their own very sacred is because Floyd Mayweather was a guy who went up there and who changed the climate when it came to the world of boxing in that situation, because he's the one that went out there and said that if you don't have an O on your record, you ain't shit to me. I don't need to waste my time with you. And I find that funny because he was a hypocrite in that situation. And as great as a fighter as Floyd was, this man was going up there and talking about, I'm not going to take certain fights because this guy's lost already. I'm like, well, if you're saying that, then why are you fighting a guy like Victor Ortiz who's already got a couple losses on his record? Why are you fighting a guy like him then, right? Why are you fighting Robert Guerrero who had a loss on his record? Why are you fighting Marcos McDonald who's been beat a couple times already, a few times? So you can't sit there and say that a guy ain't shit because he has a loss on his record because you won't fight him. But yet you fight guys like Berto, you fight guys like Maidana, you fight guys like Guerrero, Ortiz. I mean, come on, man. Seriously. I mean, look, let's just be real. I mean, Floyd's one of those guys who had a very, very carefully managed career after he became, Money Mayweather. So let's be real. But like I said, as much as you criticize Deontay Wilder, you have to say one thing. He says, look, it's okay to lose a fight. And he said this in the after the Charlo lost to Tony Harrison. He said this. He's like, look, I talked to Charlo and he was upset. He was very upset about it. But the fact is, it's okay to lose a fight. All great fighters take losses. He said it's okay to lose a fight. You can come back from that. And J-Rock came up there and said, do not count guys like me out. And I have to admit, I did count him out because I thought to myself, he's like, you know what? He didn't look quite as impressive in his prior fight before got knocked out or after he got knocked out by Charlo. And I said to myself, I was like, no, Jared Hurd is not going to give this guy no respect. I see him walking through his shots or whatever. But what J-Rock was able to do, and I'm sure Jared Hurd's team didn't expect this from him, is that he fought a very close quarter fight where Jared Hurd couldn't get his punches off. He couldn't land his shots correctly. And he just couldn't get no extension or no leverages on his punches. Why? Because when you do to guys like Jared Hurd, who's, by the way, is a pretty pretty nice puncher over there at 154, who can crack, but you have to smother guys like that. It reminds me of Julio Cesar Chavez when he fought Edwin Rosario, God rest his soul, and reminds me of Ricky Hatton when he fought Costa Zoo. When you fight big punches like that, you got to smother them. You can't give them room to throw their shots because you not only smother their shots, they get tired, they get winded, and they're going to start flaring their shots out there, not land them correctly, like Jared Hurd did, because he could not land his shots properly. He couldn't set himself properly. He was just winging because he was just trying to find some successes against J-Rock. And let's be fair though, he landed quite a lot of shots on J-Rock, but J-Rock was landing, the most ferocious shots. He had more accuracy. He was landing them very good, impressive combinations. His defense was on par. And that's the thing about Jared Hurd, man, is that his defense is shot, man. Literally, he never had good defense. It's like, dude, I even said this to myself one day. It's like, you know what? Even though I thought he was going to win that fight, I said, dude, if Jared Hurd keeps getting hit the way he gets hit, dude, I just don't see how long he can last in the sport. I just don't see it. And in fact, dude, let me just tell you something. He was getting hit so much to the point that his corner even told him, look, I think it was in the 10th round where J-Rock was pretty much sweeping the fight after the 8th round, after the 9th round, I believe, when it was very close at that time. His corner even told him, Ernesto Rodriguez, who's his head trainer, they told him, look, man, if you keep getting hit like this, man, if you don't show no defense, keep your hands up, we're going to stop the fight. That's how frustrated they were because they knew they were behind and they knew they were losing their fight. So props to J-Rock, man. He really proved doubters wrong. He came back. He was emotional. A lot of people counted him out, and he was a very, very big underdog in this fight too. Very big underdog. So but one thing I would say, though, is that 154 division has really, really, really changed its course, with Harrison beating Charlo and with J-Rock beating Hurd. And the one thing I do have to say, and I have to agree with some commenters in the comment section who had something to say about this, is that they said that this is what happens when you let potential fights like Jared Hurd versus Jermell Charlo marinate. Because when they marinate, those guys they risk they can risk losing a fight. And when they lose a fight, guess what happens? The matchups between those two fights may not happen anytime soon now. And people are not going to care about it because it's lost his luster, I should say. And it's not to say that they can never fight. I mean, they'll fight eventually. They will. But the fact is that right now, if you were to make a matchup between Jarrett Hurd versus Jermell Charlo, nobody's going to be interested in that fight. Nobody's going to care. It's a meaningless fight at this point. Until those two can somehow, some way regain their titles and go on a succession of wins, yes. But to me, if they're going to do that, I'd rather them fight a couple of voluntaries before they fight each other, because you can't let that marinate. You're risking it. And that's why I fear about Joshua and Wilder. Let's be real. Now, both of these guys could potentially lose their fights coming up. I know Deontay Wilder is more of a bigger favorite than Anthony Joshua against Andrew Ruiz, but still, though, Brazil is one of those guys who can land on you at any moment. He can. And Joshua better be careful with Andy Ruiz. Don't overlook him. You cannot overlook a guy like Andy Ruiz, because Joshua could potentially lose that fight himself. I don't see him losing that fight, but he could. So imagine if Andy Ruiz pick up those 3 titles. Imagine Don Brazil beat Deontay Wilder. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. The heavyweight division definitely is going to have a huge shakeup. I'm just being real. A huge, huge dramatic shakeup. And to me, again, if that happens, it goes to my point that you cannot wait and let big fights marinate for so long. You experimented with Pacquiao and Mayweather. Yes, that went way too long. Pacquiao took in 2 losses. And at that time, the fight lost a lot of luster. But when Pacquiao came back and won two comeback fights again, so one against Brandon Rios and another against Bradley, that's when they made the fight. So I guess that's when the luster came back. But at the same time, still though, again, these guys cannot wait too long to make the fight. And I know Deontay Wilder rejecting the deal. People still are harping on that. But the one thing I will say is, though, if people were paying attention that what Wilder was saying about the whole Joshua thing, and he's not trying to bring him up right now because he's got a fight coming up. Wilder did say during the middle of his training sessions, like, look, we're negotiating right now. That fight will happen. So that is a good sign. Wilder did say they are still negotiating despite the fact that he turned down the zone offer. So they're still negotiating, and they're still going to make that fight. So I am very, very positive about that. And like I said, I really believe that both sides are in on this and why they're letting this fight marinate and why they both turned each other down, because they both can't believe that there's more money and there's a bigger reward for both of them to get in the ring in the later time, which I don't like, and us fans are going to lose out on it. So let's see here. Let me go back to the comment section. Yeah, ones. I mean, I'm good, man. What's up with you, bro? Shizbit says Frank Warren said he's got the best heavyweight stable. Really? Did Frank Warren say that? I don't know, man. Frank is smoking crack one too many times, man. No disrespect to Frank Warren, but come on, seriously? Oh, come on, man. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Okay. All right. I don't know, man. Frank. Let's see. Big boys. Oh, Ahmed says that what happened to Low Place? I don't know, man. I don't know what happened to T. I hope he's cool. I hope he's all right. But I know after the Jarrett Hurd loss, we haven't seen him. So I hope he's cool. He'll come back. We'll see. Yeah, Fury's fighting Chris Norad next weekend. You mean Huey Fury? Yeah. I don't even know who that is, man. I'm keeping real. I don't even know who that is. Big Boy says that Kiwi says that Joyce should be fighting the winner of Char versus Bryant, so that way we could dissolve more of these WBA bullshit belts. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, Kiwi. But let me say this. I wanted to get into this WBC Diamond Belt situation. I know Fury had came out and said that I will fight Dillian White under one stipulation or one condition if the WBC will sanction the Diamond Belt to be on the line. First, I've seen a couple challenges. I've seen a couple uploaders and a few commenters say that, hey, that's not a bad idea because the WBC Diamond Belt the WBC Diamond Belt supersedes the actual WBC belt. It's a super belt compared to the WBA Super Championship. Actually, that is incorrect. That is not true. That is totally false. And I'm going to show you guys why that's false. Because the Diamond Belt is nothing but a little trinket. All right, so that the WBC could collect your sanctioning fees. In fact, I'm going to read it to you right here. I'm going to pull it up. We're all going to look at it together. Okay? Let's see here. In fact, there's my wife coming to the door. I'm on the chat, babe. I'm almost done, babe. I'm about to get off. All right. Yeah, just by myself, though. Yes, I am. All right, so let's look at it together, y'all. I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to show you guys why that is incorrect information. So, I know. I will do that, babe. Okay, so let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. All right, there we go. So let me go ahead and share this with you guys, and I want you to guys see if you can see it. No. Let's try screen share. Full screen. All right. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but I got a lot of windows up. So let me go back and stop presenting. Let me just try it one more time because that didn't come out right. Actually, no, that didn't come out right either. So I guess we're going to do it this way then. I should know how to do this, Dan. You've been on here long enough. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's do a full screen. All right, so as you can see here, the WBC Diamond Belt rules and bylaws standard, which is Section 3, Penal Code 23, as I call it. So the Diamond Championship says here, quote, "It's in its discretion on such terms and conditions that it may impose that the WBC may designate a WBC Diamond Champion of the world in each weight class. Now, the WBC may award the Diamond Belt Championship to recognize the most extraordinary and elite boxer in division or as a special distinction." Now, that key word is discretion because the WBC is notorious for using things in their discretion, which they are allowed to do. But anyways, or may sanction a bout for the title as an extraordinary bout, such under such terms and conditions as the WBC may designate in its sole discretion. Now, under extreme circumstances or special circumstances that I may add, the WBC may, in its discretion, designate the Diamond Champion as a supreme champion in the division. The Diamond Champion shall be subject to only such obligations, if any, to defend the title as the WBC may oppose or permit in its sole discretion upon an affirmative vote by the WBC Board of Governors. The WBC Diamond Champion may be permitted to voluntarily defend the title. However, a challenger may not win the Diamond Championship unless a special sanction has been granted by the WBC in its sole discretion. The WBC may also order the Diamond Champion to comply with all defenses and other obligations applicable to the WBC champions here under. So here's one thing I want to read here, this key little sentence here in this little rule right here. It says here, under extreme special circumstances, the WBC may, in its discretion, designate the Diamond Champion as a supreme champion in that division. Now, what they mean by that is that in case, let's say, Deontay Wilder, who is the recognized champion of the WBC for the heavyweights, right? Let's just use him as an example. So in a situation like that, if he was to get hurt, if he was injured and he's not able to defend his title, or whatever the case may be, if he's hurt or he has to take some time off from fighting, whatever the case may be, then the Diamond Champion will supersede, will be taking place as the recognized champion. Now, to me, it's very obvious to me that this is another scheme by the WBC to collect sanctioning fees. Just like the WBA created the gold belt, which is being currently held by Joe Joyce to collect the sanctioning fees. Let's be real. And the reason why Tyson Fury has asked for the stipulation, because I have to agree with one of the uploaders who said this, is that he's trying to use that diamond belt as legitimacy for his lineageship, I should say. He could go out and tell people, hey, look, you see, I got the diamond belt championship. That proves that I'm the most legitimate champion for the WBC, not Wilder, which is all bullshit. He's trying to run Tyson Fury, all due respect, is trying to run a scheme there with that diamond belt request. Let's be real. So I'm going to stop right there on that one. So I just wanted to point that out. Kiwi had brought up something about that, about the WBA's bull crap about multiple titles. You got jokes, Phil. You got jokes, man. So let's see here. What else we got here? Cali Enigma. I mean, look, I don't know, man. He Real Boxing says that Cali Enigma is a fat. I mean, come on, man. Y'all leave Cali alone, man. He's a cool cat, even though he has strong opinions, but he's all right. He's all right, man. Let me see. Dan from Kiwi. Hey, what's up, Bad News Brown Boxing? I'm good, man. You know, been away from this for a minute. So thought I'd just hop on here for a minute. I'll be off pretty soon. The Texas says, yeah. Oh, actually, Kiwi says, I'm very impressed with J-Rock beat Hurd with his Hurd style. Yeah, absolutely. That's what you got to do with the puncher. Texas says, yeah, there's a reason Julian was a highly talented prospect in Hurd before Charlo. He's always been a solid fighter. Yeah, he's always been a good fighter, but the one thing about Julian is that his punch resistance was always in question. It was always in question to me. And that's why I thought Hurd was going to walk through him, you know, but that didn't happen that night. So Big Boy says, do you think, Dan, that Mel will get his Tramel will get his belt back, or will Harrison fight even a better fight, retain the belt? That's a good question. If Jamel fights the same fight that he fought against Harrison, then he's not winning that fight. Because Harrison's a very slick fighter. He's very slick. He's very tricky, and he can move around the ring very well. So unless he makes some necessary adjustments, like instead of trying to come forward and try to pressure Harrison, try to give him some angles and try to try to box from the outside and try to box in his game and see if you can outbox him. Try to pick his shots, and what you could do is try to smother him so that way he has no room to punch. Because here's the thing about Harrison: if you smother him, you make him work. He's going to exhaust. He's going to really tire out. Because if you look at the Jared Hurd fight when he fought him for the IBF title, Harrison was actually beating Hurd, in my opinion, in the early rounds. But he just tired out. He just got exhausted and he got beat. He got beat down by Jared Hurd. So if Charlo can do that, make him waste his energy, then he'll have a chance of winning. So, yeah, thanks for the shout out, Kiwi. Thanks, man. Phil, let's see. Yeah, Phil agrees with me. Facts. You can't let fights wait. I agree, man. Yeah, you can't. We cannot afford to let these big fights come, pass by. So, yeah. Big Boy says that. Phil says that Ruiz is a better fight than BBM. Actually, well, hey, it is what it is, man. Big Boy says that, man, if Ruiz is a 3-belt unified champion, could you man the party in Mexico? Well, you know what? What's unique about that, Big Kiwi, is that if Ruiz does win that fight, he'll be the first Mexican to become a heavyweight champion. Imagine that happening. Andy Ruiz would probably become a potential next big star in Mexico if that happens, or he could potentially be the next cash cow in the United States if that were to happen. So we'll see. We'll see. Anthony Prince says if one of them loses, it's going to be Christmas for the media. Hey, you know what, man? Let me just say this. If Wilder and Joshua loses either one of their first fights, it's not the end of the world. Would it definitely hinder or suppress, as I call it, the vitriol that we all have to all suffer through for the last couple of years? Yeah, it will. But at the same time, it's not going to stop them from continuing their careers. They're going to continue their careers. They're going to continue to fight until one of them says it's time to hang it up, So, yeah. Phil says that they're going to be shut down the entire country if that happens. For Andy Ruiz, if he beats Joshua, yeah. The Texan says that we need these upsets when you think about it. I mean, there has to be a wake-up call on marinating. It's been too long since Lopez versus Gamboa. You know what? I agree with that that statement 100%. Because I think, to me, it's already a bit of a wake up call right now with the Harrison and with Charlo and I'm not Harrison. I'm sorry, with the Charlo and the Hurd situation, because they were planning to make that fight, but again, you're waiting too long to marinate. That's a problem. Well, to be fair though, they weren't. Yeah, actually, Hurd and Charlo have been champions quite a while now, and yeah, especially with the Gamboa and Lopez fight. And that's why we never got Gamboa versus Mikey Garcia, because we wanted to see that fight at featherweight or super featherweight. It just never happened because of Mikey Garcia's issues, and Gamboa's had some issues too. It just took too long, and that's why we never got that fight. And obviously, we're never going to see that fight ever again. I mean, never again, never. So Hamed says, look, I'm sick of talking about this fight. It's become worse than Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Actually, Hamed, I will disagree with on that. And let me just say this. The reason why is because I'm not sure how long you've been on here, but I've been on here long enough to understand the situation. Before I became an uploader, I was a commentator. I was looking at videos. I was observing the YTBC before it got split up into two different entities, right? So Mayweather-Pacquiao rivalry was far worse than any other rivalry in boxing I can think of, as far as the fans and their fans and the social media aspect of it. And the reason why I say that is because back then, the Pacquiao fans were so maniacal that if you criticized Manny Pacquiao, even 1 ounce of criticism, whether it was constructive or not, even constructive criticism, if you had critiqued Manny Pacquiao in a way that they deemed as negative, what they would do is they would harass you to the point that they would even get your channel shut down. They used to flag channels, severely for example, Blood. Shout out to Blood Boxing, by the way. Blood used to get his channel flagged a lot because he used to criticize Manny Pacquiao. Not to an extent where he would criticize him severely. I think at one time Blood put up a video. I remember this video several years ago. He put up a video, an educational video, a historic video, comparing Manny Pacquiao to the great to the great Henry Armstrong. And Blood was making the case that Henry Armstrong had a greater run as a champion, a greater resume, a greater fighter than Manny Pacquiao was. And then he got flagged. His channel got shut down because he made that video. So that's what I'm telling you. They will literally flag you for criticizing Manny Pacquiao. They literally looked up to him as if he was a god. That's how bad it was with those Pacquiao fans, as you want to call Pactars. They literally harassed you, and they literally they threatened to kill people if you criticize them. That's how bad it was back then. So as far as the Joshua and the Wilder thing, this is nothing right now compared to Mayweather Pacquiao. For real, man. This situation is nothing. Even though it's stressful and it's sickening, but this situation with Wilder and Joshua is nothing compared to Mayweather Pacquiao. That was worse back then, a lot worse. So that's my 10 cents on it. Hamed says that Lopez has had a bad year. First with the Adonis lost, and then we heard, God help if Spence loses to Porter. Well, I'm not sure if T's left because of that. I'm sure he's okay, but I don't know. He's had his hiatus before. We've seen him come back, so let's just hope the brother's okay. A rival, formerly known as McGregor Boxing Talk. What's happening, McGregor? I'm good, man. He says that, yeah, Dan, it's a trinket for more money. Yeah, that's what it is, a WBC Diamond Belt. That's what it is. Real talk is nothing but a trinket with more sanction fees. That's all it is. And for Tyson Fury to go out, and I know Tyson Fury, you're close to Tyson, all due respect to him, but we all know he's trying to kind of get one over the fans with that Diamond Belt situation and say, hey, look, I won the Diamond Belt. That proves to me that I'm more of a worthy champion than Wilder. That puts more. He's trying to use the Diamond Belt as more legitimacy to the lineal title that he has. So it is what it is. Phil says, Dan, don't get you in trouble. You can't make videos if you got your fingers broken by your wife. I know, she'd kill me. Let's see. Now, she's a keeper, though. I love my wife. We've been together for 5 years. So, yeah, in county. Still going strong, man. Phil says, I'm getting tickets for Jamal Charlo versus Jamal Charlo fight now, McGregor. Okay, cool, man. Phil, you mean Charlo and Harrison? Yeah, getting tickets for that? That's cool. Yeah, speaking of tickets, I'm going to go into the Joshua and ticket sales Joshua Wilder ticket sales comparison. I want to get into that real quickly. Yeah, I'm saying we like your channel, bro. Thanks, man. It's all good. It's all good, Phil. Rob says I'm going to Taylor versus Baranchi and anyway versus Rodriguez this weekend. Yeah, man, those are very good fights for WBSS. So I want to know what your take is on that. Who's going to win that fight? So yeah. Let me see. They're going back and forth here. I give it both to Charlo and her. They wasn't fighting bums though. At least all good opponents for the buildup. They just took a loss. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Let's be fair to them. They were fighting good opponents before they, before leading, before the losses. So we can't really, we can't really be too dissatisfied in that situation. But it's just a little frustrating that we had to bear the fact that we had to wait till those fights marinate, quote unquote, before they actually got in the ring with each other. And this could possibly happen with Spence and Crawford because one of them could lose their next fight. And look what happens. If one of them loses, then it takes a lot of luster out of that fight between Crawford and Spence. So we'll see. We'll see. C-Rex says that, look, Spence is not fighting Porter in August. So that's not going to happen? Let's take a look here. You could be right, C-Rex, because I thought I read something about that. Let me see. We all know that Keith Thurman is fighting Manny Pacquiao, so I definitely want to, definitely want to talk about that in a second. So, yeah, actually, this was reported yesterday. Yeah, Spence and Porter's not happy because they had a dispute over the purse of the split in the revenue. So, So again, if you guys don't know, Spence and Spence and Porter's not happening in August. So shout out to C-Rex. So that is true. They're not going to fight. So where does Errol Spence go from here? I don't know, man. But hey, Terrence Crawford doesn't have an opponent. Get that fight made. So let me talk about the ticket sales, and I'm gonna get into the Wilder body comments before I let a couple guys on. Let me just say this. Now, let me see if anybody can see my. Sorry, guys, I had to get my laptop, my notebook charged up. But let's take a look at the ticket sales. So let me start with Joshua and Andy Ruiz. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that up real quickly. If you guys can see my screen, let me get Street Fighter out to I'm a Street Fighter fan, as you guys know. Oops, my bad. Let's go to MSG.com. We're gonna look at Joshua versus Ruiz. Yes, I'm about to get off in a minute, guys, so it won't be too long. So let's see. I'll be off shortly, I should say. Yeah, I definitely get it. So, Joshua Ruiz, Andy Ruiz. Let's take a look at that fight. So as you can see, the tickets are still on sale, and that fight's going to happen in about the next 3 weeks. All right. So, if you look at the MSG, that's through Ticketmaster, right? So there's quite a significant blue section here. Okay. So let's. I'm gonna go ahead and do my screen share one more time. Guys. Anyway, y'all, sorry about that. So let me go ahead and do my screen share here with the ticket sales. Let's do the full screen. Actually, let's do Microsoft Edge. Let me stop right there. Because that's what I'm doing. Okay, so let's see if anybody can see. Nobody can see it? Interesting. All right, let's stop right there. I won't do it on the edge for some reason. Oh, well. All right, fine. Let's just do the screen share to see if anybody can see what I'm looking at. Okay, great. So let's look at the section here if anybody can see here. So you can see there's a blue. These are the number of tickets. So there's quite a few tickets left. So the upper decks are about sold out. So on the Ticketmaster side of things, I should say. So let's pay attention to the details on the Ticketmaster side of things, and there's a lot of seats left in the front nose, in the front sections, as you can see. These tickets are very expensive. So if you go in, if you come out a little bit, as you can see, there's a lot of blue sections. There's quite a few blue sections here. So this is the map I'm looking at here. This is Joshua versus Ruiz. Okay. So as you can see, there's still a significant amount of tickets left to be sold for this fight. This is on Ticketmaster, by the way. All right. So as you can see, there's a lot of blue. So there's a lot of blue stuff there. Okay. As you can see on Ticketmaster, I'm sure anybody can see my screen. That's how it works. That's how it is. Yeah. So as you can see, that's for Joshua versus Ruiz. All right. So if you go over here and look at the here, if you look at the what's the other one? If you look at, let's say, StubHub, for example. So let's see, Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. So if you look at StubHub, now the cheapest ticket is $175, and that's only one ticket left at the lowest price. Yeah, damn, that's expensive. So if you look at StubHub, as you can see, there's plenty of seats here. Joshua versus Maurice. Plenty of seats, as you can see here. Plenty of them. Now, I will say this, though, if I were to sum this all up, I would say they're still selling relatively well for this particular fight, but, for Joshua versus Ruiz, but it's not going to sell out. I just don't see it. Unless somehow, some way they can get rid of, I would say they would, in my view, I would say they would, I'm sorry. Yeah, I would say that there's about roughly, I would say about 24. I'll say about roughly, as Eddie Hearn did claim, there's 3,000 tickets left to be sold. So roughly, I think that's an accurate number. So I just don't think it's going to sell out. It's definitely going to have probably about 17,000 people there. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of comps with that too. So the point is, you got attendance there. They do count the comps. So yeah, it's not going to sell out, but I do expect a lot of people there. I mean, a very good crowd there for that fight between Ruiz and Joshua. So, and Joshua's American debut. So it is what it is. Now let's look at Wilder versus. Well, actually, before I get into that, with that said, with Joshua versus Ruiz ticket sales, even though they're going to have a nice sized crowd, they're not going to sell out, and they're going to take a loss for this fight. Yeah, I just don't see how they're going to make money off this, which is expected, by the way, because this is Joshua's first American debut, and you're going to try to test his waters out as far as how he can appeal to the American demographic, so, or the American market, or the American fan base. So, yeah, expect a loss to be happening this fight. So there's plenty of tickets left to be sold over on StubHub, and there's plenty of tickets left on Ticketmaster. So, yeah. So let's look at Wilder versus What's his name? Brazil. I almost forgot his name. All right, so Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Brazil. Tickets. Let's look at the Barclays website, and I think that's under Ticketmaster as well. So let's take a look. Now, their tickets is far cheaper. So let's take a look. So if you look at the tickets here, so as you can see, the tickets, the lowest ticket is $67, which is extremely cheap, right? So these are how many tickets this is all the blue, so let's all zoom in, right? So if you zoom out a little bit, as you can see, that's press row seating, which obviously that's a press, so that's a reserved spot. The firewalk, which not, if you go zoom out a little bit. So if you look at this particular map, let's go down a little bit here. I can scroll down, no, I can't. I think that's let's go back here. Okay, so as you can see, with Wilder Brazil, the Barclays has been a little bit of a smaller venue than Madison Square Garden, slightly smaller. I think about 1,000 seats smaller. I would say they're doing okay in sales, but I don't expect this fight to sell out either. So they probably have a good, roughly about a good 2,000 tickets left to be sold here for Wilder versus Brazil. And some people can say, well, how's that so compared to Joshua that has 3,000 tickets left? Well, as you can see, Joshua is far more expensive than Wilder. So that's the reason why Wilder is able to sell a little bit more than Joshua as far as ticket prices is concerned. So, yeah. So there's roughly about 2,000 here, roughly, if you look at this map, roughly about 2,000 if you think about it. Now, if you look at sites like StubHub, we can use StubHub too. So let's go to StubHub. Let's see what they have here on StubHub, right? So there's $44, as low as $44 here, only 4 tickets left at that price. So if you look at StubHub, there aren't that many seats compared to Joshua versus Ruiz. So there's only very few tickets left on StubHub for Wilder versus Brazil, very few, as opposed to Ruiz versus Josh versus Ruiz. Again, it goes to the fact that I have to be fair. I'm going to point out that the tickets are much cheaper for Wilder versus Brazil versus Joshua versus Ruiz. So there you have it there. So my conclusion is that both fights are doing pretty okay. But again, they're not going to sell out. They're not going to sell out. So, basically I expect at least, as far as Wilder and Barclays is concerned, OD Chuck says, Dan, you compare apples to oranges. I mean, Barclays is 16,000 and Madison Square Garden 20,000 both boxing capacity. Actually, Madison Square Garden is less than that. Is it 20,000 for boxing? Let me take a look. You could be right. Let me check. So Madison Square Garden for boxing is, so the boxing capacity, let me stop my screen share here. There we go. So the boxing capacity for Madison Square Garden is 20. Yeah, so you're right, 20,078, right? Barclays Center is, boxing is about 16,000. Well, 16,000. So yeah, you're right. It's not comparing apples to oranges. So what I'm saying is that people are walking around and saying that Wilder's not doing well in ticket sales. That's the whole point, OD Chucks. In fact, he is doing okay. I'm not saying it's going to sell out, but I expect roughly about a good, it's going to be rough. It's going to be barely under 16,000 going to be there. Yeah, it's going to be between 15. I say about 15,000 is going to show up for that fight with Wilder versus Brazil. Over 15,000, close to 16,000. So it's almost near sellout. So I would say about a good 2,000 left tickets. I know I said 3,000. I'll say roughly about 2,000 or 1,500 tickets left to be sold. So 14 to 15,000 roughly is going to be there for the Wilder Brazil fight. So now, as far as Madison Square Garden is concerned, Eddie Hearn, they got about 3,000 tickets left. So Joshua's going to roughly get about 16,000, 17,000 there. But Again, he's not going to sell out because it's just too expensive. And of course, the way the zone is paying him for that fight and they're paying Andy Ruiz, I'm not sure what his purse is, but they're both expensive fights. And the zone, they're going to lose money on this fight with Joshua and Ruiz. And it's okay, though. You have to test the waters to see how it is. You're going to take a loss, and we'll see how Joshua progresses afterwards as far as his appeal to the American fan base. We'll see. We'll see. So both fights are doing okay. So let's just stop the nonsense that Wilder's not selling. He is selling pretty well. I'm not saying he's going to sell out, but he is selling pretty well. So he's doing okay. Let's just put it that way. He's doing okay. So yeah, I just showed you the numbers. I showed you the tickets. So yes. So anyways, let's go into the Wilder body comments. So now the body comments, I should say, about him saying he wants to catch a body. He's serious about that. Now, I didn't make a video about that because it's not the strangest thing or the bizarre thing that a boxer will say. I can go all the way back to Mike Tyson and Ricardo Mayorga. I know I heard someone say that you can't compare Mike Tyson. You can't compare Mike Tyson. You can't bring that up because that's a different era and that's a different paradigm. No. There's no different paradigm. It has nothing to do with an era. Yes, Mike Tyson did get chastised. He got criticized for saying what he said when he said that if Razor Ruddock doesn't die, my victory against him doesn't count. Okay, if he's not dead, it doesn't count. All right, and for him to go out and say that, yeah, you want to give him a pass, but let's not forget it because he was in the heat of the moment. Okay, fair enough. But the fact is that Mike Tyson, outside of a ring segment after he retired, came out and then gave an interview and said that he really wished that he got a body on his resume. He wanted to kill somebody in the ring, and the whole Jesse Ferguson thing. He wanted to uppercut him so hard to his nose, to his brain, that he wanted to see him die. So you can't give Mike Tyson a pass for saying things like that, and Deontay Wilder gets ridiculed for that. So, and the WBC says that they will go through review. Yeah, they said that before when Wilder made that body comment initially of a year ago, okay? But what I like to point out is where's all the energy when Bermain Stavern went up there at a podium and told Wilder in his face that he wanted to kill him in the ring, in their rematch? Where was the WBC on that one? And where were they? Did they recommend Stavern for saying it? I mean, where were the videos criticizing Stavern? In fact, I saw some people say that they wish Stavern would do it when he said that. So you guys can't have a double standard when it comes to Wilder when he says something stupid, and then you give fighters like Tyson and Stavern a pass for saying something real stupid and absurd. So let's be consistent here, please. It has nothing to do with different paradigms. It has nothing to do with different eras. It's all the same standards, period. So the Texan says, to be honest, most fighters in all combat sports have the primal mentality for centuries. Yeah, I agree. It is. I've been saying this for years, Texan. So I don't understand why people, to me, it's a bit of overreaction. I just wish Wilder would tone that down, yes. But at the same time, I just think people are overreacting to what he said there. Yeah, and to me personally, I don't really think Wilder means it. He's trying to sell it to people so he can get tickets to go for this fight. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to create interest. But in me personally, I just think that's the wrong thing to do, in my view. But at the same time, I just think people need to stop reading into that too much. It's just absurd. If any fighter is going to come out and say that, I would like to see videos. I like to see a lot of videos criticizing them for doing that, because I didn't see any videos of criticism when Bermain Stavern did that shit a couple years ago. I did not see any videos at all, period, criticizing him or the WBC going out there saying that they're going to review and they're going to have a hearing on Stavern's comments against Wilder. They did not even, no one's mentioned that at all. So I just thought I wanted to point that out, real talk. And yes, I'm not giving Wilder a pass for saying it. What I'm saying is that it's nothing new. It doesn't surprise me. I don't know why people are, all sensitive about it. First of all, this is a gladiator sport. Boxing is what it is. Many fighters have died in the ring, and many fighters have suffered permanent injuries. It's what they signed up for. They know what they're getting themselves into. It is what it is. So I'm not going to be oblivious about the whole situation. So, real talk, yeah. So Neutral says that Charlo said he wanted to kill Tony Harrison. There you go. Charlo said it. Where was the criticism where Charlo said that? There you go. Where's the videos on where Charlo said that he wanted to kill Tony Harrison? I mean, come on. These people really are being selective when it comes to their criticism with certain fighters, mainly Deontay Wilder. Wilder is becoming probably the most villainous guy in the sport right now, and I think he's trying to do that. he's trying to do that. Let me just give you some examples here, right? Here in America, right? Or example, let me tell you a little story. Sadly, here in America, us American fan base, we're so drawn into the villainous type of individual celebrities, okay? Floyd Mayweather, before him, you have Muhammad Ali. Or actually, yeah, before him, you have Mike Tyson, I should say. Before Mike Tyson, you have Muhammad Ali. And before Muhammad Ali, you had Jack Johnson. Now, I can tell you this. We gravitate towards fighters like that because, as Eric Bischoff points out, you know, the great wrestling promoter or president Eric Bischoff, who once wrote a book called Controversy Creates Cash, he's telling the truth. We Americans love controversy, sadly, and we will pay anything good money to see it. And Wilder, even though Wilder may not be articulate in some ways, but he's smart enough to understand how to market himself as a villain. And some people may not believe him, but it's working. Every time I go to a channel where it features Deontay Wilder doing an interview or Deontay Wilder doing a show, like he's actually doing a guest star appearance on Billions on Showtime. All this, you see people commenting and going harassing and ridiculing him. And to me, it seems like you guys are playing into his trap and you're doing exactly what he wants you to do. Whether you give him vitriol criticism or not, you give him the attention that he craves, that he wants, and that he seeks. Why? Because the more attention you give him, the more it's going to increase his profile. And you guys are giving it to him as much as you hate him. And to be fair, I did that to Floyd. And Floyd was smart enough to understand this too. When he was Pretty Boy Floyd, yeah, he was an exciting fighter, but he wasn't controversial, and he felt he wasn't getting much respect because of because of who he was at that time. Now, when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, when he beat him, his whole attitude persona changed. He also became Money Mayweather when he became the most hated guy in the sport, or the most hated guy overall. When he said some controversial things, some of these people who criticized Wilder gave Floyd a pass for saying the shit that he said. And they know who I'm talking about. So, again, you got to be consistent with your criticism. If you're going to hold one fighter like Deontay Wilder to that standard, you have to do it to all your fighters that you support. Period. You have to do it. So, yeah, I mean, for real, though, I mean, you got World Star, you got Fox News of all people talking about Deontay Wilder. And I don't like Fox News. They're talking about Deontay Wilder. So, I mean, real talk. The man, after the Fury fights, got over 500,000 new damn following over on fucking Instagram. So he's close to 2 million followers on there. So what does that tell you about Deontay Wilder and his proven appeal? Like I said, him being a villain is working. I'm sorry to say that it is, man. People may not like when I say that, but it's true. I might not believe that he's a true villain, but it is working. You're giving him exactly what he wants. I'm be plain and simple. And if you guys, and I have to say this too, if you don't like what Wilder said, then don't watch the sport of boxing, period. I'm not saying the guy should get hurt, but I do understand that this is a gladiator sport. These things will happen. Plain and simple. It will happen. So let's not go there. All right. That's all I got to say. I have to say my piece about that. All right. So what else has got to say? Let me see. The Texas says that I saw World Star do a post on him. Yeah, I mean, World Star hip hop. I mean, damn, even Fox News did a piece on him. I mean, if Fox News does a piece on you, what does that tell you? I mean, I don't like Fox News. We all know how vitriol they are against minorities, especially high-profile minorities. It is what it is. Phil says, I think it's getting a push because he's hitting hard enough to do it. So just not smart to say. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment right there, Phil. I agree. And speaking of that, Wilder was at the New York Stock Exchange. I think it was today or yesterday. He was there, and he announced the closing bell at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is 1 p.m. over here in the West Coast. He slammed the gavel, which is supposed to do 3 times. The third time, he slammed it to the point that the gavel broke. I'm like, I'm not sure if he meant to do it that hard, but dude, if he really did it without full strength, I mean, that just shows how strong he is. So, yeah, I mean, that gavel broke when he slammed it at the New York Stock Exchange. But it is what it is. Phil says, "Hey, Wilder's a good guy, but if you have to watch him for more just for just the past few years, yeah, he's a good guy at heart. But at the same time, him betraying the feeling, like I said, I didn't think it was a great strategy for him to do that because, you heard me, Phil, in the past. I said I don't really think it's not him, but for some reason, somehow, he's got enough people to believe that he is. People hate him now. He's become the most villainous guy in the sport of boxing, along with Adrian Broner." So I'm not saying he's worse than Broner. Broner's far worse because Broner be getting into all kind of shit outside of the ring. Wilder is not known to get into trouble outside the ring. I know he's had one little mishap or two mishaps with his, with the Diamond Brazil situation with that hotel lobby in Birmingham. Was it a hotel lobby or was it the lobby at the arena where the fight took place? He fought George Washington. I think it was in the arena lobby that this happened. Or I don't know. But we all know there was a scuffle with him in Brazil. There was altercation there that involved the authorities. And then there was a situation where he got caught. He got pulled over by cops because he was in possession of weed. Also, it was a hotel. Okay, cool. Thanks for clearing that up. So there was a couple of instances that Wilder had some run-ins, but Broner's had too many fucking run-ins, man. Too many fucking run-ins. I just can't see. It's a life of me. It's just that how this guy's gotten so many chances. All right. So yeah, it is what it is on that, man. But I think it's getting I read that comment already. So yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this whole Wilder, Wilder take his comparison and then the Wilder body comments. And the like I said, it just come on, man. Oh, by the way, Ricardo Mayorga, I forgot to mention him. Let me get back to that real quickly. Ricardo Mayorga threatened to kill Oscar De La Hoya. He even said this in an interview. I want to kill him because I hate him so much. I'm not sure if Mayorga got criticized for that, but where was the criticism back then? I didn't hear too many criticisms about Mayorga when he said that about Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, again, people choose to criticize certain fighters because they don't like them, plain and simple. So, I don't know, man. What else is there? I mean, it is what it is. Did Mayorga threaten to kill Shane Mosley 4 years ago when they had their grudge match? He wanted to kill him, but nobody cared about that. But it is what it is. So it is. Percy, what's happening, brother? He says that do people hate Wilder because he's a villain or just think he's a good fighter? I think it's a mixture of both. I think it's more so him being a villain than he isn't a good fighter. Let's be real. Let's be real, Percy. There's a lot of fighters that aren't that great, but yet they're respected. Let's be real. There's many of them out there. Like Matthew Macklin. I'll give him an example. Wasn't a great fighter, but he was definitely respected. He was liked by many people. There's an example there. Okay. Like I said, it's more him being the villain. Has nothing to do with skills, bro. Nothing to do with skills. Because Floyd Mayweather definitely has skills, and he was definitely hated. Real talk. You know that as well, Percy, man. Yeah, I'm good, brother. Just checking on your stream. That's cool, man. I really appreciate you, man. Appreciate the support. I think a lot of people hate him because he wins with limited skill. Well, again, Phil, I think that's part of it, but at the same time, they don't like how the fact that he's let's just be real. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. I think why Wilder gets a lot of criticism is the fact that the way his career was handled initially when he was moving up in the heavyweight ranks. Yes, I'll admit, as a Wilder fan, I've criticized him initially because the way he was handled. I mean, I just thought he was mismanaged in the beginning. I thought his team put him in there against guys that he shouldn't be fighting, like old, over-the-hill guys like Sergey Lahovic and the guys like Malik Scott, who's a good fighter, but just not that great, Of course, that was WBC final title eliminator. I think that's what it was. And I mean, guys like that, and then you have Nikolai Furtha, and then you had the Ali Harrisons, those type of fights. It's like people just didn't like Wilder. He was being all arrogant about it too when he was fighting those guys, and people were like, "What, dude? Let's see who you let's see you step up, man. You like 30, 40 fights in, 35 fights in. Come on, step up. So, you know, I mean, it mainly goes to the fact that how he had his run as a heavyweight in the beginning. You know, then it went the Stavern fight. Things start to progress from there. You know, of course, he had some. He's had a decent run as a heavyweight champion. If you think about it, you know, he had a decent run. So, or he still got a little work to do, but he hasn't really had a bad run as a heavyweight champion. But early on, yeah, I guess people still like to hold it against him, but the fact that he's fought a lot of obscure guys coming up in the ranks. He did. Let's be real. And to be fair, he kind of padded his record. He did. So that's where I think that's where it comes from. It also comes from the fact that he's been, you know, let's be real. He's been ridiculing Anthony Joshua for a while now. He has been doing that. And a lot of UK fans don't like that. You know, he's ridiculed Joshua. He's ridiculed other fighters. I mean, that's what other fighters do. They ridicule each other. Some fighters don't do it as much. I mean, but he's done that. So again, Phil, I think it's part of it, but I think it's more so the fact that he's playing the villain round where he's trying to undermine other champions. He's saying the wrong things. I mean, that's what the villains do. They always say things that are delusional to get attention. So that's what it is. The Texas says, heck, even videos on YouTube today got all these fighters interviews of wanting to kill opponents, and their comments that I've gained 20 pounds of muscle. And there's comments saying I've gained 20 pounds of muscle after watching that video. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, Texas, I agree. So you and I are definitely on the same page here. That's just why I don't understand why people are like really, really reading too much into the killing. I want a body comment. I mean, fuck. Shit, man. Dude, I don't encourage Wilder to say that, but let's not pretend that's not the most outlandish thing that anyone's ever said. Again, I go back to Mike Tyson. He said far worse shit, but he got a pass. Okay? Yeah, I know people are going to bring up that the thing is Mike Tyson actually fought better opponents. Yeah, of course he did. But that has nothing to do with that to give him a pass for saying the shit that he wanted to say. You might want to give him a pass because of it, but in reality, if you want to be rational, you can't give him a pass for saying the shit that he said just because he fought better opponents. Nah, can't do that. Can't have it both ways. Real talk. So, let's see. What else here? Odie says that Wilder is aping AJ or copying AJ. I don't mean aping, you copying. He's going by the stock exchange. I mean, well, maybe. I mean, I know AJ did it first, but other than that, what other marketing schemes that he replicated AJ from? Can you explain? It seems to me ever since Wilder and Fury went on the Breakfast Club, AJ's been following their position, right? He's been going on the Breakfast Club doing interviews with them. So it could go both ways. All right. So a person says, I hear you, bro. Yeah, exactly. The Texan says, I literally see comments of recent years under a video where they were motivated by Tyson wanting to fornicate somebody. Oh, man. Yeah. I remember that infamous interview where he told a female reporter that about that fornication comment. I'm like, dude, this motherfucker is twisted. I mean, seriously. And Tyson was generally a twisted dude. He was twisted. So, yeah, he was maniacal. Big Boy says that I think many hate Wilder because of he crosses the line between confidence and arrogance. Yeah, exactly, Kiwi. It's just that the arrogance and the confidence, and he has rubbed people off the wrong way. And and to be truthful, I'm with Phil on this one. Look, I didn't really like Wilder in the beginning, but as a fan, I did grow on him over the years because he has improved. I've been begging him to step up. He did step up against Luis Ortiz. He did take on Bermane Stiverne, even though people didn't think he was going to win that fight. He won that fight. I wasn't really too pleased with Duhaupas fight. I wasn't too pleased with the Eric Molina fight. And to be fair to Johan Duhaupas, after that fight, he became a top 10 heavyweight after he knocked out Lanius after that fight. So that's a somewhat okay win for Deontay Wilder. And of course, Duhaupas fell off after that. But still, when I say he's a world beater, but that was an okay win at that time. So, but still though, and when he fought Ortiz and then he fought Fury back to back, now he's fighting Brazil. Dude, that's a very good improvement on his resume. Very good improvement. You know, you went from Ortiz, you went from Fury, even though you didn't win that fight against Fury, but you didn't lose it either. So you got a draw. Now you're going to Brazil. So yeah, and then after the Brazil fight, he's got the Ortiz rematch that's been talked about. Now you got the Adam Kodaka fight that's talked about that's coming up, and then possibly get the Tyson Fury rematch. So that's a damn good run, right? that's actually becoming a very good run as a heavyweight champion right now. So, yeah, and to be fair, Anthony Joshua has a very good run as a heavyweight champion. So let's give credit where credit is due to both fighters. Even though Joshua has a slightly better run at the moment, but yeah. Yeah, so let me see. What doesn't matter who does it first, Yeah, I agree with you, Phil. It's like it doesn't matter at this point. Both fighters deserve their respect. Both fighters deserve criticism, but it is what it is. I will tell you this, man. When Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua leaves the sport, we're all going to say, we're all going to look back and say, you know what? I may have not liked the guy, but he did have a good career. He had a very good career. And that's what I said about Floyd Mayweather. I didn't like Floyd. I certainly still didn't like Lennox Lewis when he fought at the time. But when they both retired, I said, you know what? Looking back at their careers, they had very good careers and they had great fights. And they were great fighters. Yeah, Phil says that Wilder's taking some good fights at the moment. Yeah, he has. And people still not giving him credit for it. Particularly the Luis Ortiz thing. And Phil, you and I can attest to this, and I think you were one of them that said this when we first crossed paths. We all, not me, but some people felt that he wasn't going to fight Ortiz. A lot of people felt that he was not going to take that fight. But when he took the fight, people were trying to change the narrative. They were trying to move the goalposts and saying that, well, doesn't matter. Wilder's going to get knocked out anyway. He was going to lose against Ortiz. Ortiz is a much superior fighter, this, that, and the third. But when Wilder knocks him out and beats him, Ortiz ain't shit now because, he was on blood. These dudes, seriously, a lot of people felt that he wasn't going to win that fight, even though Wilder was a slight favorite on some of the bookies cards. But some people felt that he was going to lose that fight. People thought Ortiz was going to be too much for him. He's too much skilled. He was vastly experienced. Wilder was not going to win that fight. Did he fight Fury? Okay, got a draw there. So now it's like people don't want to give him credit. And by the way, still insinuating that he cherry-picked Fury. No, he did not cherry-pick Fury. Fury was the one that called Wilder to make that fight. He reached out to Wilder and his team to make that fight, not Wilder. So if Fury is the one who even confessed to this himself. So let's get the facts straight here. Let's get that straight. Q says, you see the WBC are making Wilder attend a hearing by his death in the ring comments. I don't expect too much to come out of that, but yeah, I don't. And well, let me finish your comment, Q. My bad. He said, but they do have something that after already asking him not to talk about one of the body comment on the record. So we are so much of the PC world more so than the Tyson era. Yeah, that's a good comment, Kiwi, and I agree there. As far as what the WBC have already warned him about, will they find Deontay Wilder? Perhaps they're going to assess a fine. They probably will. So, that'd probably be the best course of action to tell them, look, very watch your comments, man, because if you keep saying things like this, we will go ahead and what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to go ahead and continue to assess further penalties if this keeps up. So it is what it is. Okay, guys. What else do we got going on here? Oh, my bad, guys. I'm a bit distracted here. But anyways, yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't think he would take the Ortiz fight against Ortiz. Heard said that it was a dumb choice by Tay Wilder because he didn't have to take it. Yeah, I remember that comment, and people keep forgetting that one too. Eddie Hearn even came out on record, said that why the hell was Tay Wilder taking that fight? Why would they take that fight? That's a dangerous fight. Why would they take it? So yeah, I remember that comment, and I keep telling people that it's like, hey, don't discredit Luis Ortiz because Eddie Hearn thought he was a very dangerous fighter at the time when he was undefeated. Okay, that's why he kept some of his guys away from Ortiz. Let's be real. Okay, even though Ortiz did duck the Joshua fight recently, yes, he did, but it doesn't dismiss the fact that he did kept Joshua away from Hearn. It is the fact. Come on, Dad. Tyson is even half the wit. Joshua White, Dominic would have knocked Fury out. Oh, nah, man. Now this is kidding a little delusional talk here. Joshua is too stiff. Okay, he's a flat-footed guy. Okay, he may not be that slow, flat-footed, but his style is all incorrect for Tyson Fury. Okay, Dillian White is much more slower feet on his feet than Anthony Joshua. Dominic Brazil is much more slower feet slower flat-footed than both of those guys. Let's be real. Let's be real. Okay, so Tyson Fury would school all three of those guys. He may have a bit of a tougher fight with Anthony Joshua than White and Dominic Brazil, but those guys, even though it's a matter of opinion, no, they would not beat Tyson Fury. Nah, they would not have beaten him. Period. They would not have beaten him. So I would not. That's too far to say that Dominic Brazil would have beaten Tyson Fury. Nah, no. Tyson Fury would have humiliated Dominic Brazil far worse than what he did Christian Hammer. Far worse, in my opinion. Even though I don't think Christian Hammer is a better fighter than Dominic Brazil, but at least he's a little bit more skillful than Dominic Brazil, in my opinion. But it is what it is. So Odie, I like you, man, but that comment right there, come on, dude. He's not even half fit. I mean, when has Tyson Fury ever been a man of steel, for God's sakes? I mean, he has been in shape to some degree, but he's always known to be undisciplined outside the ring. So, I mean, he's in better shape now, but it is what it is. Boxing, Kiwi says that, yeah, it was a good choice for Wilder to take that fight, to give him some credibility. Yeah, I agree. I've been begging for them to take that fight against Ortiz. When he finally made that fight, man, believe me, dude, I was excited. I was making videos. And yet people were still discrediting him for taking the fight with Ortiz. They were like, well, it's about time. They're still like going into him. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, seriously. It's like, dude, you asked him to take a fight with Ortiz. He took the fight, and people still weren't giving him no credit. I mean, it was just like, what the fuck? It's not done. It is done for Ortiz for not waiting for the Joshua fight, though. But yeah, he should have waited. He should have probably waited with that WBA thing. But just to look at, to put it to be in his shoes. And I have to repeat myself about this whole WBA and the IBF ordeal. Okay, Ortiz was promised a shot after the winner of the Klitschko and the Joshua fight. Yes, there was a rematch clause. Ortiz did oblige to say, okay, if they were to rematch, I will still wait because I am still guaranteed my shot at the winner either way. Okay. And then this whole IBF thing came about, and the IBF was aware of this whole rotation thing. They were aware of it, according to Gilberto Mendoza of the WBA. Okay. And they never disputed this. I hate to bring this up, but the fact is that Hearn and Joshua were aware of that situation. They went to the WBA and they asked them to allow the IBF to proceed before Ortiz. And they said, okay, fine. That's when Ortiz got upset. He was like, wait a minute. I was promised to get this fight unless because I was the one who allowed to step aside to allow that fight to go through with Joshua and Klitschko. I was the one to allow that, okay, with the guarantee that I would get the winner of that fight. So he's like, fuck it, I'm not dealing with it anymore. So that's why he went the Wilder route. But at the same time, the WBA gave him his blessings and said, you know what? If you're going to go the Wilder route, fine. We'll still allow you to keep your mandatory status. And that's when Joshua Hearn was upset. They wanted him to be removed from the mandatory status if he's going to fight Wilder. That's exactly what happened. And I did not like that power move by Joshua and Hearn because I was like, what the fuck? Why are you trying so hard to do that? Get a man out the way as a mandatory. All right. That to me, I did not like that. And believe me, if Wilder did some shit like that to any fighter, I would have gone at him for doing that. Plain and simple. But anyways, I agree with you to the extent, Kiwi, that maybe Ortiz could have waited a little bit, but maybe in his mind, he was a mandatory for quite some time with the WBA. He was. And he felt that he couldn't wait any longer. He just like, dude, I've been waiting over a year, and now they're telling me to wait a little bit longer. So it is what it is. Let me see. Mr. Boxing Moves. What's up, Mr. Boxing Moves? He said Hearn's words were, quote, it is a massive risk. Yeah, he did say that about the Ortiz fight when Wilder signed up to fight him. And remember, at the time, nobody wanted to fight Ortiz. Nobody wanted to get in the ring with him at that time. So let's be real. Nobody wanted to. So, and Wilder took the fight. So, after that Wilder fight, he slowed down a little bit. So it is what it is. It took a lot out of him. And Phil says that Fury is a good fighter that will give a fighter problems. Absolutely, he is. Fury versus anybody other than Wilder is a snooze fest. The big boy tends to disagree with that, what Mr. Boxing News just said. He says Wilder, Joshua versus Fury is not a snooze fest. Yeah, it won't be a snooze fest. I agree. The WBA screwed Ortiz. Don't even get on that topic, bro. I mean, I did get on there a little bit, man, but it's just a lot of people want to be oblivious to that. It's just like literally people don't want to. believe that situation. I'm like, dude, how many times I have to show you evidence that's what happened? In the words of Gilberto Mendoza, this is exactly what happened, what they tried to do to get him removed as a mandatory. And if Wilder did some shit like that, I would have gone at him too. If people still don't want to believe that, that's what Hearn and Joshua tried to do to Ortiz at that time. They don't want to believe it. It is all written, it's all documented right there. That's exactly what happened with that whole mandatory situation. But it is what it is. Plain and simple, it is what it is. You can't convince anybody, you know, the truth, but hey, it is what it is. All right. No, Odie, you got your facts wrong. He was not suspended because of the drug failure. He was suspended. No, see, you got your, here's the thing. You got your timeline all mixed up here, okay? Yes, Ortiz was suspended by the WBA because of the whole drug situation. But that's not the reason why Joshua Hearn wanted to be removed as a mandatory. They wanted him to be removed before the drug suspension, okay? They wanted him removed because he went to go fight for Deontay Wilder for the WBC title back in 2017 before he got popped. That's what the resolution said. It's written right there. So you could go take a look at it. So his suspension had nothing to do with, his suspension with the drug failure was not the reason why Anthony Joshua wanted him to be removed as mandatory. That happened before. He wanted to be removed before that situation came up. So that's a fact, and that's the truth. So you can take a look. I suggest you go look at that WBA resolution one more time. All right, big boy. All right, Kiwi. It's good having you in, bro. As always, man. So let me know when you have a hangout again, man. I'm gonna have to get on your hangout because I definitely got to get on there and chop it up with you on your hangout with your piece, man. Peace. So, as I was saying, what else is there? There's nothing else to talk about here. I guess I went too long here. I guess I'm gonna get a couple guys on here, then I'm gonna call it a night or day. All right, let's see if I can get some people on here. Hop on, people. Let's see who gets on. Oh, boy. All right. Let me get on here. All right, guys, let me do it this way. All right. I see Phil just hopped on. Let me see. Phil, can you hear me?
Yo, what up?
All right, can't hear me from this side, but let me hop in on here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Come again?
Yo, Phil.
What happened?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, sleep, bro.
Nah, man. You know, the basketball been on, man. You know how it is, man. You watch the game.
Portland and Golden State.
Yeah. You got some background noise.
Yeah, actually, that was me. Yeah, I got it there, man. My bad. Yeah, so yeah, Portland, Golden State, right? Who's winning right now?
Right now, Portland winning. I watched that
Portland
game
winning.
last night. I've been watching basketball. I've been coming on for the past 3 days. I'm watching it by myself today, man, getting my voice a rest.
I hear you, you well deserved. Yeah, I see Portland's up by 3 points now. So you know what? I don't think they're going to win the series, but I think they would be it's a far better matchup against the Warriors than the Denver Nuggets. I mean, seriously, if I thought Denver was going to win that series, dude, they're going to end up by Memphis Grizzlies, get swept by the Warriors in that series. It wasn't going to be that competitive. So, in
Yeah, I
my
agree,
view,
man. I agree because to me, Portland is just a more exciting team to watch, and I think they match up with them a lot better. So, it just to me, Portland serves for a better series than Denver does. But everybody's got their opinions about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I think there will be consensus that they'll agree with us that Portland is a much better matchup in this series than Denver. Let's be real. No disrespect to Denver Nuggets, they had a great run. I mean, nobody expected them to get this far, but I mean, to be fair though, people didn't expect the Trailblazers to get to the conference finals. I mean, they expect them to get to at least the second round at best, but
yeah,
I mean, they went all the way to the conference finals. That means the first time since nearly 20 years, since 2000.
Yeah,
when Scottie Pippen was on that team and Rasheed Wallace and Ruben Patterson, Detlef Schrempf. I mean, that was those two guys, Pippen and Schrempf, at the end of their careers. They were just helping out the younger guys. I think Kenny Anderson was on that team, and Damon Stoudemire was on that team. My bad. I remember him. Not Damon Stoudemire. Damon Stoudemire. Yeah, I remember Damon Stoudemire, dude. He was a damn good point guard, dude.
Yeah,
Damon Stoudemire.
He ended up leaving and going to China. And
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He ended up retiring.
Yeah, he ended up being real big in China, man. I mean, incredibly big. I mean, they got statues. They got statues of this guy outside the stadium and all kind of stuff.
Damn, this is kind of like Stephon Marbury, who pretty much retreated and went over to China and spent the rest of his career there.
Yeah.
Well,
I
Stephon.
I think he has a statue too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, he's glorified over there, man. He's like an icon. He's an icon over there in China. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, back, the thing about the whole Ortiz thing, I don't know why people keep bringing this up about the the thing is about this whole thing about him being removed by the WBA. Look, yes, he was removed by the WBA because of the drug thing, right? But the whole point is that Joshua and Hearn wanted Ortiz removed before that whole drug thing came up. That's what I tell people. They wanted him removed because he wanted to go fight Wilder for the title. That's why they wanted him removed. So it's like these dudes are literally trying to make some facts here. I was like, dude, this is not what the resolution said. If you read the WBA resolution, why they removed Ortiz, there's another piece in there that Joshua and Hearn contested that he should not be mandatory because he was going to fight for the title.
Yeah, that's what it was, because they tried to make the argument that if he won the title, that would knock him off the mandatory spot for the WBA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what they was trying to say. Yeah, really was trying to, have him on ice. Really, what I'm saying?
That's what they wanted to do, and that's what I'm saying. If any other fighter tried some power move like shit like that with a sanctioned body, I would have gone after them too. Trust me. Trying to get a man out the way because he felt he was getting dicked around and he wanted to go get a title shot elsewhere. But with the WBA, I think what they were worried about is like, dude, if he does that, and he's up suing us, and we remove his ranking because of that, and he could sue us for that, we can't risk that. That's why they allow him to keep it, and still fight for the WBC title. So they've been sued before. What's up?
And another thing to add to that was he wasn't a mandatory for the WBC. You see what I'm saying? It's voluntary. So they're like, well, hold on. Well, you're mandatory over here, but you're gonna go and fight a voluntary championship fight with the WBC. And that's when Eddie Hearn and Matchroom jumped in and was like, yo, we need to, if he's doing stuff like that, we need to remove him from the WBA. We need to move him out of the rankings from the mandatory.
I didn't like that. I didn't like when Hearn and Joshua tried that shit. I didn't like it. I'm glad that they up to their guns and said, no, we're not doing that. I mean, seriously. It's like, dude, that was a form of a duck if a fighter does some shit like that to another fighter. I did not like that at all. I'm like, what the fuck are their business? Why are they getting involved in that situation? You know,
Well,
so it is.
another thing is, man, look, the seeds they've sown with the WBC is coming back to bite them in the butt right now, man, because the WBC didn't like that shit either. You know what I'm saying? You know, they really catching some static just recently, a bunch of static just recently, and I think that a little bit of all of that stuff has a little bit to do with it. I just think sometimes they just was pushing the line, and now WBC was like, okay, guys, like this just got to stop. And they put their foot down on a lot of shit when it comes to Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, man. They having a battle between the WBC and Top Rank and Matchroom. And Matchroom is definitely losing. Like at least with that sanction without a doubt.
They are losing the political argument over there with WBC. I hate to say it, they are, man. It's like not looking good. And to be fair, Eddie Hearn still want to have some type of credibility with them, so he's still trying to be on their good gracious because he does want to. He still want to be in their rankings because it is worth more value. I don't know. I don't know. He's trying to be on their good gracious, and obviously, you still want to develop some type of good relationship with the sanctioned bodies. Let's be real. You got to do it. As much as we don't like them, but they do have a significant stronghold in the sport of boxing. They do. It's just the way it is. They do have that much power. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know how we got to keep going back and revisiting that whole WBA and Ortiz situation, and Joshua situation, but it is what it is. It's over with. They're not fighting each other. I hope Ortiz does fight Joshua after the Ruiz fight. We'll see. Let's hope for the better. But I want to get into that real quick. I talked about the ticket sales and all that. I know you saw my chart, what I presented there, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, do you agree with me that both fights are doing okay? I don't see any. I mean, they're doing okay, but I don't expect to sell out for either one of these fights. Do you agree with me on that?
Well, yeah. You know what? And I will say this right here. So this is my whole deal right here. Well, with the Ruiz and AJ fight, right?
Right.
I mean, this is the deal. They wouldn't be in such bad shape financially now. When you go ticket sales to ticket sales, I guess you can kind of say it's basically what with both of them. Both of them not going to sell out, and if you don't have a sellout, then I mean. But it's really nothing to brag on by either one of them. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just think that if they wouldn't have paid AJ so much, I just think Matchroom and DAZN is just taking a loss on this one financially, which is, I mean, really not good at all. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not good at all. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. They're definitely going to take a loss on this, but maybe they're risking the loss, so hopefully they can say, you know what, we'll take a loss here, but if we could somehow, some way increase AJ's profile amongst the American fan base, then maybe it's worth the risk at the time being. Then we'll see how well he draws in his next fight here in America. So maybe that's the scheme they're going with. I mean, that's the strategy they're going with. But, especially when they announced the pre-fight sales record, which is a way to try to get people to buy tickets, which was a good strategy. I'm not going to deny that. That was a damn good strategy. But we all knew there was something. If you read between the lines and look into that further, I mean, that was just all like, okay, that's just all not say a sham. That was all pretty much a marketing scheme to get people to buy tickets. And believe me, nobody's going to spend $5,000-$6,000 on a fight that they on two fighters are virtually kind of unknown to the American public. Nobody's not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me put it to you like this right here, and I'm not trying to say these of course, like prime example, right? So, Jamal Charlo is fighting here in Houston at the Rocket Stadium, right?
Right.
So, okay. He's fighting against Brandon Adams, right? Which I don't know a whole lot about him. I'm not gonna lie, but who else is fighting on there? I think Lubin might be fighting on that card.
Was on that card?
I think he may be fighting on that card, but I mean it's a decent card. I mean, look, dude, floor seats. I mean, from third row on back. I mean, $200 or something bucks, right?
Right.
I mean, you got nosebleed seats at Joshua's fight that's $400.
I know. I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Not trying to say, of course, we know Joshua is much more pristine as far as his fan base than, of course, Charlo is. But I mean, come on, man. You talking about floor seats third row versus a nosebleed. That's crazy price. And I'm just trying to give people who really don't, go to fights and actually purchase seats and stuff like this, just an idea of how ridiculous that price is. I mean, it's out of control.
It is out of control. I think they should have. I don't know, man. I think to get Joshua to fight out here, they had to pay him because he's very expensive. Let's be real. He's a very expensive fighter, and that they had to give him a creative offer to consider to fight outside of his comfort zone and come over here to fight. And again, I think they are going to take a significant loss here. Maybe not as bad. I want to get into the zone numbers real quickly. As far as the Canelo and Jacobs fight, I wanted to get into that. But I mean, like I said, I'll be fair with fair is due. Their ticket sales are not bad. They're actually doing okay. But what I'm saying is the reason why I brought this up and did the comparisons because I'm seeing videos on Wilder's ticket sales more so than the Joshua ticket sales. I'm like, okay, are any guy going to do the video on the Joshua ticket sales? I mean, where's somebody going to do a video on that? I mean, I really don't pay too much attention to all this, but if you're going to do that for one guy, why not do it for the other guy? And I
100%. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, man, on that right there. I really think just I think the ticket sales possibly could have done just not a whole bunch better if Vic Baby would have been fighting, but I think they would have did probably a little bit better considering, he's definitely more known than Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
And he's from New York, so I think people probably would have rallied late to buy tickets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't not so much for Andy Ruiz. I don't think so. They may sell another 1,000 tickets. Maybe 800 to 1,000 tickets. I mean, 1,500 tickets at the most. They probably have another 1,500 left over. I'm thinking the AJ fight's probably gonna have maybe anywhere between 16 and 18. 1,000 people there. 20,000.
About 17,000 to 18,000. That's that. I would say. 17,000 to 18,000. And Wilder's going to have roughly over.
A hell of a turnout. You know what I'm saying?
It is a hell of a turnout, and Wilder's probably going to roughly get about 14 to 15,000 for his fight, which is not bad itself. Because
exactly.
Huh?
I say no. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, that's definitely not bad. If you when you look at the chart, there's roughly about 1,500 tickets left for that Wilder Brazil fight, roughly around there. So. Yeah, it's doing both fights are doing pretty well. I mean, just that I don't think they're going to sell out. Let's be real. They're doing okay. They're not going to sell out. Let's be real. Shizbiz in the chat says that AJ got that Mexican crowd attending. Are you mean Ruiz or you mean AJ? I think you mean Andy Ruiz. Because I don't think AJ is popular with the Mexican fan base. I don't see no appeal there with AJ with the Mexican fan base.
You're going to have to go get him a Mexican girlfriend or something.
What's up?
He's going to have to go get a Mexican girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get a Mexican female if you want to get it to get appeal to that crowd. Which I don't think AJ has no. I don't think Joshua has a problem getting a Mexican girlfriend. I'm just saying.
I know.
But yeah, I think you mean Ruiz, Shizbiz. Is that what you mean, Andy Ruiz? That's what you mean, man. But Odie says that the WBC has always been a corrupt organization. Yeah, they always been a corrupt organization. So is the IBF, and so is the WBO, so is the WBA, and the IBF. By the way, them fools they got punked by Canelo and his team. They came out and they ordered him to fight Sergey Deverchenko, right, as a mandatory defense, right, after he beat Jacobs.
Yeah,
I think Canelo's team went to the IBF, says, "No, we're not fighting him yet. What the fuck you talking about? We just got this belt. You ordered us to fight a mandatory." That man fought for a belt last year, and he had one fight. Deverchenko, that is, he had one fight against Jack Halkay, and all of a sudden he's a mandatory. So the IBF rescinded it and said, "Okay, we're not going. You don't have to fight him now."
I'm like, what? This is my deal. This is my deal, right? So during Chico, like, how does he? I mean, I don't know, man. Seemed like I don't know how he just slingshots into that mandatory spot like that.
Exactly. I don't know either. It's like, dude fought for the title last year. He fought for the title last year, right?
Yeah.
He lost. He gave a good effort against Danny Jacobs. It was a good fight, yeah. But then all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, he had one fight coming back several months later against Jack Halkay, the same guy that Demetrius Andrade fought in Germany. He fought Jack Halkay, won that fight, and then all of a sudden he gets a mandatory position. What the fuck? I mean, seriously, what was IBF thinking? I don't know. Why would they call him mandatory for a guy who had one fight coming back when he had a shot at the title? Was for a vacant title, and then all of a sudden he's mandatory after one fight. He didn't even fight in the final title eliminator. Golovkin, by the way, who vacated his belt because he refused to fight Derevyanchenko, by the way. It is a duck. I know Golovkin fans don't want to hear that, but it is a duck. Okay. Golovkin, who actually got stripped, by the way, because he refused to fight Derevyanchenko, he still maintained his ranking as a third guy in the IBF.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think Charlo's ranked in the IBF, is he?
No, I think he is. Let me check the IBF rankings. Hold up.
Because I want to say, I don't know. I know, didn't he have the IBF belt when he was at 154, or did he have the WBC?
No, he had the IBF at 154. Charlo did. Jamal, before he moved up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought he had. That's the one I thought he had. I mean, it seemed like he would still be, with that sanctioning body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's not even ranked by the.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's not ranked with him. That's what I thought.
Yeah, here's something interesting here. You know, Golovkin and Steve Rose, a guy we never heard of from Canada, they're fighting, but they're not even fighting at middleweight. And Steve Rose is ranked number 8th by the IBF. And they're not even fighting in the middleweight. They fight for fucking super middleweight. I mean, goddamn, I catchweight 164. So, I mean, that's something unique there. But again, I just don't understand why would the IBF call a mandatory after the fact that they haven't even ordered a final title elimination bout.
I don't see why. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just I don't see why Charlo's not still with not ranked by the IBF.
Yeah.
I mean IBF.
Yeah, I don't see that either. I don't understand why he's not ranked by them either. He's been on good gracious with that sanctioned body. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know.
That's strange to me. But you know what though? He's taking that WBC route. So
yeah. Well, we know Golovkin a shot. Golovkin is not going to fight in that eliminator against him. We all know that. He's not going to do it. I mean, if Golovkin does it, they'll prove me wrong. I'll be praising him if he fights Charlo, but I don't think he will.
Charlo is number 1, right? He's ranked number 1.
He has ordered Golovkin to fight him, and Golovkin has refused to do it. He's refused to fight Charlo. So I'm not sure how PBC gonna let that go on, but if I don't think Golovkin cares at this point. He's caring about making the most money he can. He could give a less about what the WBA, what the sanction body's got to say about who he has to fight, who he cannot fight. So
yeah, he don't care.
He don't care. It's about making dollars right now. It's all about money for him, and all that legacy talk that we all believe that he had is gone now. He's abandoned that. It's all about money.
Yeah, and I really think he really wants that. He wants that Canelo fight again. Big, he wants that big money fight again, and if he doesn't get that one, I mean, I don't see. Honestly, man, at this point, if he's not going to fight any of the top guys besides Canelo, then I mean, you really just standing in the way. Honestly, you're just wasting people's time.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Golovkin is old. He's really not at what he used to be." I get all that. Yeah. Here's a problem with that. I understand. Look, I'll give Golovkin the benefit of the doubt. Okay, me personally, I don't think I have a problem with fighting Steve Rose because he's had like 1, 2, 3, 4 tough fights in a row, starting with Kell Brook, and then with Janny Jacobs, and then 2 Canelo fights. That took a lot out of him. So I don't blame him for fighting Steve Rose. But a lot of Golovkin fans,
he fought somebody else in between there too.
Oh yeah, Vanis Monterosian. You're right. I forgot about that one. Yeah. See, that's how unimportant that fight was.
Exactly.
If I forget. But no, be fair, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. But I think it's funny though because I've heard some diehard Golovkin fans who are a bit rational. They don't like the fact that he's fighting Steve Rose. They don't like it. They're like, nah, dude, you're not getting the pass. First of all, you're still fighting the middleweight. You're still in contention technically for the title. And you fighting a guy like this? What happened to Hassan the Dom? That would have been a fight that we would accept because he's still a top 10 middleweight, Hassan Dom. Even though he's lost a couple times, but he's still a formidable opponent compared to Steve Rose. So why is he not fighting him? We thought that fight was going to get made, and that didn't happen. Brandon Adams, even though people criticized Golovkin fighting that guy, now all of a sudden he's fighting Charlo. Brandon Adams is a much more suitable opponent than freaking Steve Rose. So
yeah, I need to go and look up Adams. I've seen him fight before, but never really paid too much close attention to him. You know.
No, he got more of his attention because he won this season the Contender with Andre Ward's hosting it too on Epics, I think, the Contender. Yeah, so or even fucking Rob Brandt. If you fight him, for God's sakes, why you ain't taking that fight? Oh, that's right. He got a rematch with what's his name with Mariota in Japan. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, Something Dom. I mean, he didn't take that fight. He's taking a Steve Rolls. I mean, okay. Like I said, I'll give Golovkin a benefit of the doubt there on that one. But you know, hopefully he fights somebody better after that fight. Hopefully somebody like an Andrade, which I doubt he'll go near, but hopefully he does.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So, hopefully he does, man. Hopefully he does.
But I tell you what, though, man, hey, they gotta. I tell you what, man. I saw your comment. You said PBC was in some kind of trouble.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about that real quickly. Yeah, Rick Glaser, he's the one who brought this up. It's on his Facebook page. You can take a look at it. The post is there, still there. He said here that the PBC is in financial trouble and they're looking for a buyout. The people who fund it, which is Waddle Reed, which gave money, gave the startup costs, the startup funds for Heyman to start the brand. So, but the thing is that Rick Glaser's credibility has been questioned before. Yeah, no disrespect to him. He may be right on this one. Yeah, it may be some truth to it because the rumor mill is that the top person that could be the cash out would be Dana White, who owns could be Dana White, or not Dana White. What's his name? His co-owner of the UFC. I forgot the dude's name. What's his name again? Damn. What's the guy's name? Ari Emanuel. Yeah, Ari Emanuel. Ari Emanuel is the guy who's going to be who's the front runner to take, who's going to acquire the PBC model, the brand. And Dana White is in a partnership with Ari Emanuel because they're co-owners of the UFC. So we all know that Dana White has got a promotional boxing license, so he can promote fighters. So if this happens, he's going to get involved in the decision making when it comes to these fights. He's going to do it, and obviously, if Dana White gets a hold of the PBC, how would that turn out? I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that turns out. Maybe it'd be good. Maybe it'd be for the best because we know Dana White likes to match up people tough. We all know he likes to do that. But boxing is a different game. Maybe he may have a different approach when it comes to the UFC because again, he owns a martial arts, a MMA league. You know what I'm saying? MMA organization. Boxing.
Well, I heard. You know what else? I also heard that, and I just thought this was just a rumor. I just heard it, just regular conversation with some of my buddies at the gym. They were saying the guy who used to own the UFC, the Fertitta guy, he was thinking about buying PBC, but I didn't think that. I didn't think nothing of it when I heard. I just was like, okay, that's bullshit.
Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, Rick Glaser says he has reliable sources that could confirm this is happening. But we'll, hey, if it does happen, it happens. You know what I mean? So, if it does happen, maybe it'd be for the best. But, we do know that the pre-existing TV contracts are still in place for these PBC fighters, which includes, Wilder, Spence, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Jamal Charlo, Jade Rock, and Jared Hurd.
I mean, the list goes on. A lot of people hate PBC, but you name it some great Plant. You name it some great guys.
Yeah, Manny Pacquiao. I mean, Sean Porter. Which, by the way, that fight's not going to happen. I will give your thoughts on that one.
Keith Thurman.
No, Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao is going to happen. That's confirmed. They signed their contracts.
Yeah, without a doubt. Wherever that fight's going to be at, I'll be there.
Cool. But Sean Porter, Earl Spence is not happening. That fight's been called off.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, because they couldn't agree on the split.
Contract, right?
Contract. Oh boy, so where's let's go from here, man? I mean, damn, all I gotta say is Terrence Crawford's right there waiting.
Yeah, I'll say this right here, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I was talking to a buddy of mine about this a couple of days ago. I said, man, if they can make that Spence and Porter fight, you gotta think about it, man. PBC's been really coming coming hard this year so far. You know, don't get me wrong, the Mikey Garcia and Spence didn't live up to the expectation that we thought it would.
Right.
But I mean, name-wise, they still made a good fight. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, then they given us Pacquiao Thurman. Then it would have gave us. Hopefully, I wish they would have gave us Spence Porter. I mean, they, you know, it seemed like right now they're giving us the fights that we want to see. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, you know, you got Wilder in Brazil. I mean, a lot of people don't like that fight, but it's just, I mean, you know, I tell people, man, when you look at the heavyweight division, you have to rate it for what it is. Like, you know, Dominic Brazil, you know, maybe he's not a, you know, outstanding fighter, but he's definitely a top 10 heavyweight. I mean,
he is.
I mean, what do you, the guy's fighting somebody in the top 10, period. You can say what you want. He's not a good fighter. He's fighting some of the best talent available at the moment. And that's
it's an irony about that. When Brazil fought Joshua, when he came back and had 2 good victories, right? Well, he's had 3 straight wins after the Joshua fight, right? Why all of a sudden now people are like giving they were rating down Brazil pretty highly when Joshua fought him after what he was able to do after that. But also when Wilder fights him, they say, he ain't that good. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Not too long ago, you guys were giving him full credit as a legitimate contender after AJ fought him and beat him, and he was able to rack up 3 straight wins. Also now when Wilder fights him, if Wilder beats him and knocks him out, which is he's expected to do, he ain't shit all of a sudden. See, this is the same shit they done with Luis Ortiz. I'm like, you guys, I mean, these dudes keep moving the goalposts on this shit. I'm like, come on, man. You can't say that, you know, Brazil is a good fighter after AJ knocking him out. Then all of a sudden, when Wilder fights him and knocks him out, if more likely that will happen, he's not a good fighter. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, I'm not saying he's a great technical fighter, but he's definitely a good contender. You know what I'm saying? He's a legit contender. You know, legit heavyweight in my view. Yo, Phil, you there? Phil, did I mute you? Oh, you on mute, bud.
Yeah, nah. I was on mute, my bad. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good, man.
Yeah. Nah, but yeah, I don't, man. You know what, man? I've noticed something, man. They give Deontay Wilder, man. I mean, he's headed hard, man. But you know, this is the deal right here, man. And I tell people this all the time, and this goes with life, man. You got to judge people on not what they've been, you know, but either what they are at the moment, or what, you know, where they're trying to go or what they're trying to be, you know. And I think that's probably why Deontay Wilder, part of the reason why he gets so much criticism for, you know, stuff that's, you know, a lot of stuff that wasn't his fault. You know, I mean, you got to think about it, man. He came into the game late. He didn't know much about boxing, and he felt as though he put people around him that made the best decisions for his career. And he's a fighter, so whoever they put in front of him, he fought him. He understands the game a little better now, and he's trying to prove that he belongs in the spot that he's in. You understand what I'm saying? And you have to respect him for that. You know, he's not backing down. I mean, anytime anybody fights Luis Ortiz and then they backdoor and then they fight Tyson Fury, you know, then they try to fight Anthony Joshua. A lot of people try to say he don't want the Joshua fight, but I believe in my heart Deontay Wilder wants that fight, period.
I think they both want to fight. Yeah, let me go ahead and say something about that. I think they both want to fight, and I have reason to believe they're both holding out. Both sides are holding out as long as they can, so they can let the fights quote unquote marinate long enough so they can make more money out of it, maximize the dollars out of it. Because Wilder said himself during the course of his training sessions yesterday, I believe, he said himself, "Look, we're negotiating right now, so that fight will happen." So
yeah,
I believe that.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
When I said that, I wasn't saying that as an AJ didn't want it. You know, I definitely think AJ wants to fight too. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, the whole reason for AJ coming over here to the States is the build up, just in case, because you know you want to be able to have the fight anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? So if it's more lucrative for him to come and fight down here, then that's what he's gonna do. You understand what I'm saying? I think that's all part of the strategy in order for the Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua clash. You understand what I'm saying? Because outside of that, he has no other reason to come to the States besides to become the disputed champ. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. So, I mean, look, I think they're going to fight. They're going to probably fight next year, probably 2021, as Wilder said. But, you know, they're going to fight. And like I said, it just that, unfortunately, us fans, we got to hold out. We got to hold out. We gotta, we're gonna be get held out as long as we can. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's see. I think they both got fights coming up, so let's just focus on that right now. Let's hope they get past their fights, because we don't want to see the heavyweight division take a turn like the 154 division did recently. So we don't want to see that happen at this moment.
Yeah, you know what though? I will say this, man. That 154 definitely took a turn, but I'm not upset with it, man. I like it. I like when the fights are unpredictable. I like when we don't know who's gonna win. To me, that reminds me of old school boxing. You understand what I'm saying? These guys can get in there and you always gonna have your upper echelon guys, but they're not getting in there with any bumps. Any night can be the night you take that you hit that banana peel. You understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
And that makes it good. You understand what I'm saying? Makes it really good. And then you got classy guys up there at the top. J Rock, he has a great story. He works hard. He didn't give up. He just kept pounding it out until now he's got what, 3 belts?
Well, two belts. The IBF don't count.
Well, but essentially he's got 3 belts. You know what I'm saying? But man, that's awesome. That's awesome for him, man. Him and his family, everything he's been through. And then even Tony Harris, man. People counted him out. He was considered. Some people consider him to be like a stepping stone kind of guy, as far as a filler fight. Because his fatigue problems always was a hindrance to him. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody know if you can get Tony Harris into the second half of the fight, you're gonna beat him. Same thing with Austin Trout.
Right.
I mean, but the division right now is really, really good. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, even those guys, when they were stepping in the ring with the competition, they were stepping in the ring with Austin Trout, Harris, Lubin, all those guys, man, that's all great fights, man. That's all really good fighters. They weren't fighting no bums, man. They were fighting good guys that could beat them on any given night if they hit that banana peel, and unfortunately they did.
Yeah, they did. They were, and I agree with your assessment on that. But I think the frustration of what fans are looking at is like, well, you could have guys made that fight happen sooner rather than a little later, and look what the results of that. I think that's what fans are like really frustrated with this whole theory of letting fights marinate, because we all went through that situation with Pacquiao versus Mayweather for many, many years. When Pacquiao took those back-to-back losses, people weren't caring about it no more at the time. It's like, oh, fuck. Now we're not going to see the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Nobody's going to care about it now. But when Pacquiao came back and won 2 consecutive fights, his rematch with Bradley, then his comeback fight against Brandon Rios after getting knocked out by Marquez, that's when the interest started to come back slowly. So I'm not saying that the fans won't be interested in 2 particular fights again. But the problem is that the longer you wait, the more it gets the more it gets not interesting for fans to gravitate towards. I mean, look at Holyfield Tyson. That took 6 years for that fight to finally happen, or 5 years, I should say, when they were supposed to fight in 1991, and then Tyson got caught up in some shit. Or, of course, that was something that way beyond Holyfield and team's control. But that took five years, and then that finally got made. So, or actually 6 years. It took them 7 years to finally fight. 7 years.
Yeah, that fight took a long time to come to pass.
Yeah, it took 7 years for that fight to be made, and finally fans got to see it. Even though both men took losses, but they both came back and they both won fights, and now people got. And to be fair though, it wasn't that much luck. I mean, it wasn't. Well, you say based off the numbers, there was luster to it because Holyfield Tyson, that was a unique matchup. People thought Holyfield was going to get killed in that fight. I remember that too. They thought he didn't stand a chance. And then he went through Tyson and he didn't blast through him, but he really, really beat him the fuck up badly in that first fight. So it is what it is.
Tyson's gonna always have a problem with really outstanding people who can jab.
He did. I mean, I think it was just that to me, he's had his psychological issues. He's surrounded himself with the wrong group of people, man. I think that's what led to his downfall. In some regard.
You know what though? No, and just to comment on the build up for the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather fight, and a lot of people bring this up, bring that up, when Pacquiao took those losses. But let me tell you something. I've been watching boxing for probably not as long as you, Dan, but I've been watching boxing for quite some time, right? Manny Pacquiao has one of the most solid foundation of fans I have seen in, the past 15 years, probably.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So let me tell you something. When Manny Pacquiao took those losses, his fan base never went anywhere. You know what I'm saying? His fan base never went anywhere. Like, you got to think about it. It was whenever they would have had that fight, I truly believe it still would have been a mega fight. Okay. I think it needed to build back up on Floyd's side, not because Floyd had lost anything or he wasn't performing properly. I think just the luster of him fighting somebody like Manny Pacquiao was the buildup. Then when he lost, all the Floyd fans is like, oh man, he lost. Now we don't even want it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think Pacquiao needed to build himself up for Floyd's side. You know what I'm saying? Because Floyd was taking care of business. You understand what I'm saying? But Manny Pacquiao's fans, I think they never faded. I think they always felt like they needed the Floyd fight. And I think they always thought whenever they got it, Pacquiao was going to win. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to be fair, he did fade a little bit after he got knocked out by Marquez. That's something I was slightly
Yeah, Marquez, that was almost that was one of the worst knockouts I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah,
that's top 5 knockouts of all time, I would probably say.
Yeah, but, especially with Marquez caught him with the good one on the chin, coming inside, lunging in. Man, that was bad. And like I said, they did kind of they did what you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? They did what you call it? They faded away a little bit until he came back in with those couple of victories, especially with the Bradley victory. He came back and fought Vic. That's when they started to come back when he got his redemption fight against Tim Bradley in the second fight. So, but yeah, to be fair, like I said, again, this whole thing about let these fights marinate, this, that, and the third for such stretches of time, man. It just, it can become a little detrimental, for the sport of boxing, in my view. It can.
Yeah. I hate it, man. I hate it with a passion. It is.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, I hate it more so than you do, man. But let's talk about
when Hagler and Hearns fought, man. Them dudes wasn't waiting around for one another, man. They just got down.
They were, man. Hagler, Hearns, Duran, and Leonard, to some extent. Leonard fought Hearns and Duran in their prime, but he waited a long time for Hagler to slow down. Let's be truthful. He did.
Who are you talking about? You're talking about
Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh yeah, Sugar Ray. I'm talking about Hagler. I'm talking about Hearns. Yeah. Hearns.
Yeah, they didn't wait around. Yeah, they didn't wait around for guys to get old or something like that. They fought
Hearns was taking on whoever wanted to do something, But what you want to segue to now? What's up?
Yeah, I was going to segue to the gate, the financial for the zone. I forgot to cover this a while before I got you on, but I was, I know you heard the recent news. They did 1.2 million views on the zone's telecast, and they did $8.7 million at the gate. So obviously the gate numbers are far less than 68% decrease. I think roughly 60%, 50% decrease from Canelo versus Triple G gate numbers. Obviously, I think the tickets were priced a little bit more for that fight. I could be wrong, but at the same time, their revenue was far less than the gate, which is about $9 million. And then they did 1.2 million views on the zone for that fight with Jacobs. And my thing I'm confused about is that how's that broken down? How's it broken down? Is it by the $9.99 subscribers like me, or the $19.99 subscribers, or the yearly subscribers? So if it's not broken down that way, so basically 600,000 people in the United States watched the fight, and another 550,000 people watched it worldwide. So if you do the numbers and you crunch it up together, let's just say the average amount was about $23, right? So they made roughly about $25 million for that fight on the zone, right? The zone platform for that fight, 25 million, right? So they made 25 million, and then you have another 9 million at the gate. So that's about $34 million together combined. So you look at Canelo's purse. Canelo's purse was way more than the total revenue, those two revenues combined. Plus Jacob's purse is about 60 million. Plus the revenue split, they got to split with these fighters, particularly at the gate for Canelo. So the zone took a loss in that fight. But to be fair to the zone, though, it narrows the losses in a way, because there's actually not as bad compared to their other two, their previous cards. So there's some good and bad there. The numbers did increase, but they still took a loss there. So what do you think? What's your take on that?
Man, I'll be honest with you, man. The zone is going to take a couple of losses for quite some time. You know, I mean, they're going to take a loss with this Anthony Joshua fight. I mean,
that's true.
You know, they you know, they're still super new. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think because they're so new, I think they probably need to come with just better fights overall. I'm not gonna lie, they can make some really good super fights throughout the year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they have enough talent to do so. But I think it's the fights that's not the super fights is what's going to get them those extra subscribers that they want, they desire. But again, like I said, they're still new, and I think they're probably going to keep taking losses probably for the next 2 or 3 years. If the numbers keep going like this, especially when somebody could log on to somebody else's account and watch the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's 2 people per login. So, I mean, if they don't do something about that, then they may have some issues. Because you got to think about it. If only one person can log in at a time under one account and watch one thing, then that $9 or that $20 they're getting, that's a true $9. Or I mean, that's a true $10, or that's a true $20 that they're getting.
Right.
But if I'm on and then Dan, you got my account and we on, I mean, shit, we $10 a piece each month.
That is true. And that's another thing too, because I wish they could have broken it down by details. Again, how many subscribers did they get? What were the 1999s? How many of those 1999 paying subscribers actually watched the fight, and how many of the 999 paid subscribers watched the fight? And how many of the yearly subscribers, which is about $100 a year, how many of those subscribers watch the fight? So that way I can kind of do the average of the dollar amount, and then I could times that by 1.2 million. But I'm gonna just throw the number out there, like $23 is the average, right? Roughly, maybe about $23 or $22, maybe less than that. Who knows? But we do know they lost money on that fight for Canelo Jacobs. They lost a lot.
Man, look, they're gonna lose a bunch of money on Canelo fights, man. They gave him so much money.
Right.
He's getting a lot of bread, man. Like, I mean, I'm not in these guys' pockets, but
there's one way they could salvage this. There's one way they can make up for their losses now. I mean, to be fair, their losses didn't narrow, but let's hope they could continue that trend. Let's be fair to them. That's a good way. That's a good thing. That's one positive about this. But I would say though that for them to kind of really make up for their losses, and a lot of people say this. Oh, the pay-per-view market in America is dead because of Canelo and Jacobs. Really? Are you sure about that? Because their latest numbers does not prove that at all. They didn't make a profit for this fight. So how can you say that the pay-per-view market is dead because of that fight? Really? I mean, shit.
But let's be honest, though, right? If that fight, and don't get me wrong, Jacobs made his money and Canelo made his money. And at the end of the day, I'm all about the boxers making their money. If the zone doesn't make a profit, I mean, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? But with pay-per-view, these guys would have made a profit off that fight, because I mean, I'm pretty sure people probably would have paid $70, $75 to watch that fight. And I think the numbers probably would, I don't know if they would have been 1.2, but I'm thinking probably would have been close to 1 million people probably would have watched that fight, just with Canelo's popularity alone.
Right.
But is like you said, is it dead? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, we got another pay-per-view fight announced, Pacquiao versus Thurman on Fox. That's been announced. And Mikey Garcia versus Danny Garcia is going to be announced as a pay-per-view. So here's the thing. I laugh at this because when people keep saying that the pay-per-view market in the U.S. is dead, I'm like, well, I've heard that so many damn times, and they keep rolling out pay-per-view fights. So what are you talking about? It may not be sporadic like it used to be, but they're still rolling them out. So I just don't understand why people keep saying that. Again, the zone's numbers does not prove that. They still took a financial loss based off these numbers. They did. That's a fact.
Yeah,
So
that's a fact, man. That's a fact. They're gonna take a loss. They're gonna take a loss on the Anthony Joshua fight if the numbers stay the same. I mean, you got to think
yeah.
about it. I
Well,
mean,
do you think the numbers are going to do better for this fight for Ruiz than Canelo and Jacobs? Or you think it probably do a little bit less?
oh man, you know what? I don't think it's gonna do. You saying you comparing? You talking about the AJ fight versus the Ruiz and
Canelo, yeah, Canelo Jacobs.
no. The Canelo and Jacobs is going to, of course, have much better numbers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It just is. But,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think Ruiz is getting what Jacobs got as far as his purse. Now,
No,
AJ's getting what, 30 something million?
roughly 36 million. That's the number that was been reported.
Okay, 36 million. So let's just say Andy Ruiz is getting maybe, let's just say on the high end, 5 million. So right now you're sitting at $40 million. Okay, just to break even with that fight. that fight right there. That's not the only fight on the card. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
no, I think they're gonna take a loss, man. And I don't think they're gonna see the same numbers that Canelo and Jacobs did. I mean, you got to think about it. The Zone gave Canelo that much money because they needed these subscribers. And by signing the biggest fighter in the world, I know a lot of people may, you know, UK fans may think it's AJ, but Canelo is the biggest fighter in the world. And that's why they did it. They were prepared to take that loss to get the subscribers. But I don't know. I don't know what their financial plan is. But like I said,
I think they're gonna introduce a pay-per-view platform pretty soon. They're gonna do it. I'm not saying they're gonna price it at the range that's normed between what $55 to $75, but it's coming. It's gonna come. They're gonna announce it pretty soon. Watch. You'll see. They're gonna
I agree with you.
It's coming. It's coming. And watch, when that happens, I'm gonna start laughing at everybody. They say, "You don't know what you're talking about, Dan. They're not gonna do pay-per-view. The Zone's gonna take over the market." They're like, really? They're not doing it with these type of numbers.
No, they're not doing it with these type of numbers, man. And then, you know, you still got Sky Sports and all that stuff, you know.
Showtime, and you got Fox, and Fox is actually killing in the ratings right now. Fox Sports, they're killing in the ratings, man. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I mean, they're making a killing right now. They're doing better than Showtime in the ratings. So, I mean, and ESPN is obviously up there too. So it's like those two, ESPN and Showtime, ESPN and Fox are making a killing right now. So it's like, dude, the Zone's got ways to go to catch up to those type of networks. Ways to go. I'm not saying they won't get there, but they can. It's going to take them a long time, and they understand this is not going to be easy.
Exactly. It's going to take them a long time. And I mean, think about it. Let's be honest about this, man. Anybody that says pay-per-view is dead is losing their mind because, I mean, Mikey Garcia and Earl Spence did what? Close to 500K?
Yeah. Right. They did. They did about 360,000, which is not bad.
I thought it was closer to like 4 or something, but I could be wrong. But you know, that's still a lot of people at 360,000, close to 400,000 people. That's still a lot of people watching the fight. It was 75 bucks for the fight. So when you do the math on it, and I can tell you, it was 40. I was there. I was there at the fight. It was definitely 48,000 people in that son of a gun.
Well, I think they made money on that fight. Garcia and Spence made money. They made money on that fight. So.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. without a doubt. And Pacquiao and Thurman is gonna make money. You know what I'm saying?
That's definitely gonna make money. So Fox is killing the game with that. Even Mikey Garcia and and Danny Garcia is gonna make money. So they're gonna make money on those fights.
Exactly. They're going to make money, man. You know, a lot of people give, and this is another thing, and I'm surprised nobody's done a video about this, but let me tell you something. A lot of people give Al Heyman a hard time, but your boy got after that fight. You understand what I'm saying? And he got up there and he said something that I've never seen any fighter do. He said, man, I want to thank Al Heyman. You know, he said, I'm not trying to brag. He said, man, but I'm a millionaire, and I don't get paid millions of dollars to fight. You know, Al Heyman has helped me so much, man.
Mikey Garcia said that, or Earl Spence said that?
No. This is what J-Rock said.
Oh, J-Rock said that. Oh, okay.
He said Al Heyman has helped me so much outside of the ring. You guys don't even understand. and he's still giving me opportunities to fight for belts. You know, he said, I'm a millionaire. I don't get paid millions of dollars to fight. That's all Al Heyman, man. I really want to thank him. He's a great person. That's what he said, man. And,
I believe it.
People,
and that's why people don't leave the BBC.
Exactly.
I mean, couple fighters here and there that will leave, but you can't not make everyone happy. But Heyman just has this reputation of keeping his fighters happy. They're so loyal to him, and that's why people get on Wilder and for criticizing. I mean, I criticize him for not taking a fight with his deal with his own. But if you look at it from another perspective, Al Heyman is the reason why Wilder stayed, because it's like he has this loyalty to Al Heyman, just like all these other PBC fighters do. They have this loyalty where Heyman treats them extremely well. Outside the ring, as you say, he takes care of them. He makes sure they're taken care of financially. Their health is preserved in a way. So many promoters don't do that shit. They don't. So, or Al Heyman, he doesn't like to be classified as a promoter, but let's be real though, he is somewhat a promoter. But still, at the same time, he's like a father figure for most of these fighters, man. And you don't get that with some of these promoters with these fighters to some degree. You don't really get that. So it's like, I see what you're saying. That's a good point that you made, man, about the Heyman relationship, whatnot. But yeah, it is what it is, man. But anyways, man, I'm gonna have to head out of here, man. I gotta get off. I gotta get some work. I gotta get some things to do, man. I got work to do.
Yeah, man. My wife just got home. I need to get off here anyway. She kind of eyeballing me.
Me too. My wife is on fast right now, but all right, dogs. Thank you for coming in. All right.
All right, brother. Take care, man. Deuces to everybody. All right.
Peace, brother.
Yeah.